bitch. Oh, excuse you? Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry Annie. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Hey y'all, welcome and happy Monday. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show we basically talk about all things going on in pop culture and hot topics. So, or the latest hot topics and all that good stuff. So, if that's a show for you, definitely stick around because we have a lot of tea to spill today, including we got to talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day. They said they're about to sink Titanic from the all-time top 5. That's how major it's doing at the box office. We're also going to get into the box office and see how much Mutiny made over the weekend, as well as Insidious Down in the whatever that damn movie's called. Anyway, so we also got to get into Hayden Panettiere because her mother, all of a sudden now, her daughter's dead. She running around here on her little tour trying to clean up her reputation, all this stuff. We're going to play the full interview if you haven't seen it, so definitely stick around for that. Plus, she's talking about that that Brian Hickerson, that crazy ass ex that she been on again, off again with, pawned her belongings before her death. And there was a story going around from Rob Shutter's Substack that said that he wanted Hayden to have another baby, but with him instead of, because she has the first kid with Vladimir Klitschko. So we'll get into that. Plus, speaking of child stars, Raquel Lee, who was on the Amanda show, has filed a lawsuit over, well, I won't say over, against Disney because she said she was SA'd at 14 by an ex-employee. So we'll get into that, and I believe every word because I'm like, child, if they was over there doing mess at Nickelodeon around that era, around that time, you can imagine what they was doing over there at Disney. So we'll get into that. And then we also got to get into this John Wayne Bobbitt story. It's funny how we brought him up in passing on yesterday's show, and now I got a whole story on this man today. So apparently they have an anthology series coming to Hulu that I believe Lorena has been consulting on, and he said he gonna sue them if they make him come across a certain way, which would be abusive and all that other stuff. We'll get into that story. Now, speaking of abuse, Wendy Williams says she won out of her abusive situation that she got going on down at that building that she living in. I think she lives in the same building as friend to the show Sailor Mermaid. I think he told me that. And then we also get into the story that I saw over on The Sun, where they're saying Kylie Minogue is morphing into Tanta, and why Madonna is fond of Kylie, unlike other pop stars. So they in the story they brought up some of the shady stuff she said about Mariah, Whitney, Charlie XCX, Lady Gaga. So we'll get into all of that because y'all like diva mess over here. So I was like, let me bring that story man here to shake the table. Now, speaking of shaking the table, Bad Bunny is addressing the water crisis over in Puerto Rico. He I think ended his tour that he's been doing. His world tour ended last night in PR. It was a 2-night situation, and he addressed the water crisis. So we'll get into that. Patti LaBelle nephew out here crying because she kicked him out of her house because he's a Trump supporter, and rightfully so. Chris Brown's tour earnings could be seized to pay that former housekeeper that he owes $13 million. Remember, the housekeeper, he had a dog that pretty much just mauled her, and she damn near died. And he supposed to pay her $13 million. And now they're saying that the earnings that he get from this tour, she can get a piece of that. So we'll get into that, and I guess we can congratulate Katseye because with all this drama going on where members are dropping like flies, they got themselves the #1 album in the country on the Billboard 200, and Phoebe Bridgers debuted big too. So we'll get into the charts and everything. We got to talk about the iconic Little Kim, who is going to be celebrating 30 years of her debut album at the Brooklyn Hometown Orchestral show. So she's going to have a whole orchestra while she rapping, I used to be scared of the dick. Now I throw lips to the shit. So we going to have that. Plus, we got some sad news. We lost another homosexual adult performer who passed away at the age of 29. And I came across this clip yesterday of Dan Renzi, who y'all may remember from Real World Miami back in the day. For those of us who are of a certain age, we're aware of that show. But he opened up about his complicated relationship with GLAAD and how they, there's a little bipolar relationship where they were nice in 1 minute and they treat him like crap the next. So we came in and was talking about like, yeah, in this day and age, you got to learn when to say no to people that, to help, I guess, with your mental health, your sanity, and all that other stuff. So, yeah, we got a lot of topics. So before we get to them topics, please hit that like button, subscribe, smash the notification bell, do all the things that help the show get out there in that good old algorithm. I see we got a couple of comments already in the thing. Let me see. Hold on, because I got to open up the other thing where I can actually get to y'all comments a lot quicker. Cleveland's in the building, says happy Monday, everyone. I saw you was in the movie theater all by yourself. That picture you posted online. All by yourself. Don't want to sit. I said, check your inbox. I sent you a video of that a gay defends Madonna fighting the criticism because he says it's best Rolling Stones can be the same boring and straight Bruce Springsteen. Look, and you got Barry Manilow out here canceling dates because his body parts is collapsing. So, it's a mess out here in these good old streets. Hold on, because let me see what he talking. What you talking about, Willis? Maybe I'll use it later when we get to the other time. I don't know. Facebook is acting a fool right now. Oh, I know who this guy is. He does a show with Nina Parker. Yeah, I know who he is. The one that you sent me. And child, I was gonna reference him later on in the show. Because there was something that had happened that we was about. Oh wait, let me actually pull this over with the Gaga because I'm gonna put because later on I plan on playing that clip of Lady Gaga when she went on Zane Lowe and trying to throw shade at Madonna. Talking about what two different artists? Just saying. I'm like, girl, please. And how Gaga all of a sudden got this little AI thing that she's working with, where she got pro-Israel lobbyists paying for it. That story came out. I saw Ian Blakely did a whole video on it. Onyx is here. He says, hello, everyone. I finally saw Spider-Man Brand New Day yesterday. It was a good entry. And it definitely sets up what's going to happen with the X-Men. Is that I know you would agree with him. And when it comes to saying relevant, trying to be cool and young, you mean keeping her job. Did you like Slater's cover of Violet by Hole? Funny enough, I don't think he was on here yesterday, but Onyx asked me the same question. And I was like, yes, definitely. I was actually surprised because I was like, yeah, I know Slater can sing, but I didn't know she was gonna go full on like Courtney. And I was saying when I was like, I said, y'all better stop sleeping on Courtney because people, when I was growing up, people used to throw so much shade at Courtney. There's people still that run around with that conspiracy theory that she had something to do with Kurt Cobain's death. And now a lot of people saying since then they want Slater to cover like make a grunge album. I definitely think that you can bring that grunge vibe to what it is that she's doing. I don't know if I want her to do a full out grunge or rock record. I like that she's playing around, like her foundation is you could call it hyperpop, you can call it electronic music and all this stuff. And she does the rapping and stuff. So she plays in that same wheelhouse like a Kesha or Peaches and girls like that. But if she want to incorporate more live instrumentation and rock guitars in her stuff, I'm like, I'm all for it. And what I think she should do, because people love it so much, I definitely think she should add, if she hasn't already, a cover of Violet to the worst girl in the world, whatever the hell she's calling this tour. I think she should add it to the tour set list. I know some people saying that she should release it as a single. I don't know because then if you release it there's a whole bunch of legalities that come with that. So I don't know if she wants to release like try to profit over a cover, but I definitely think it's something that she should just continue to perform live because I thought it was great. That and then when she did Beat Up Chanel's, the way she was singing that song during that same show that I saw that cover, and then she did it anyway. I think this is all shot in Australia actually. But yes, to answer your question, because I said a whole lot, I definitely love the cover. I think she did it better than yeah, I might call this blasphemous. I think she did it better than Courtney did her own damn song. But Courtney liked what she heard. Is that now there's more gays noticing Tate McRae is copying from Britney Spears as in Britney artwork and aesthetic. I've been saying that, but people keep saying, she not trying to be Britney. I'm like, y'all got cataracts or something? Cause we not seeing, I mean, unless y'all she's definitely cosplaying Britney in a lot of ways. I want people to know that the trans outrage is to get the plays. I saw that foolishness. But I like what the WNBA player said, I forgot her name, but she's basically talking about y'all out here buying dildos and throwing them on the court. It just goes to show that that's real gay. You got a lot of issues that you need to work on. And now you got when you went to the store, you got a whole purchase of dildos or whatever on your credit card. Like, who thinks about all this stuff? Yeah, y'all going to stores buying dildos to throw dildos at women, and what this got to do with trans people? These are most likely lesbians. Because aren't majority of them girls on them on the basketball team? Like, I know y'all gonna say that's a stereotype. A lot of them girls on them basketball teams eat the coochie. Let's not be obtuse. A lot of them are lesbians. So um yeah. So what are you mad at? The fact that you can't sleep with any of those girls? And to me, it's just like you've been rejected in other aspects of your life. So you feel like, oh, these people are giving me attention or to pussy, as I like to call Erica Kirk's corporation. I heard they were outside, there was people out there protesting in front of Barclays Center, and they trying to rile this stuff up. There's no trans people on these female basketball teams. So what is this protest about? Y'all just making all this noise, and people need to realize this. This is all a distraction because the midterms is coming up. Trump knows that he has been doing a horrible job, which he's always been horrible at every job he's ever acquired in his entire life. But he knows he's been doing a horrible job as the president, and they're trying to distract. You heard about them people that's on that, what is it, USS Abraham Lincoln, that they had no food, no water. They had no sanitary supplies. So it's hot. They had no way to brush their teeth. They wasn't getting no food supplies, whatever. They was funky. And his supporters telling them, suck it up. Y'all probably all were draft dodgers like the president was. So how you want to tell people that's out at sea 12 months out of the year, probably even more, that they got to suck it up? I need WNBA to ban from the games because he's a. And child, you wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that at a Knicks game or Rangers because he would get his ass beat. There were rumors that Kurt wrote her music. Yeah, there's always been rumors regarding that. People were like, Kurt was. Look, they said the same thing about Biggie writing Lil Kim's entire discography. So they won't let that down. But then again, what about? Damn, what was my point I was gonna make? Oh, so what? But then what about when he died? Because she came up with Celebrity Skin, and that's what all of a sudden the mainstream started to embrace Courtney and was acting like, oh, she's demure, she's cleaned up, she's not like that nasty girl with the baby doll dresses, which y'all know Olivia Rodrigo got inspiration from, and with the baby doll dress because it was popularized by Courtney Love in that whole era. I even think that Kurt Cobain wore baby doll dresses at one point on stage. So oh, so you said worst man in America. I mean, it's appropriate. So, you said I think they may have collaborated, but she's always been a good lyricist. I definitely think that Kurt's influence was on her, and they were great collaborators. That may have been the influence that they had where they were in love, the drugs, and all that other stuff. I think all of that there was a kinship and a connection there. So I do think that people sleep on Courtney and her talent as a writer. Because she definitely is a good lyricist. Madonna is to Gaga what Britney is to Tate. Okay, 47 out of the 50 states plus DC. He's unpopular, so we already know it's got to be a point where it's got to be a blue tsunami where it's too big to rig. I was watching Crystal Call and Friends, and there was this. I need to share that clip with y'all because they was talking about how like the whole thing, like the whole breakdown of like Trumpism and the oligarchs and what they're really trying to just destroy everything. Where you seeing like the whole beginning of Project 2025, where they're destroying the food sources and they're trying to take spaceships up into the air because they think like, oh, white people aren't reproducing. It was just a whole crazy situation. I'm like, what the fuck? I want out off this planet. I want to go live with the aliens at this damn point. All right, so enough of the political stuff. I'm ready to get right into the show. So let me hit my banter. And let's get into topic number one, 14 minutes in. And let's talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day. So, Spider-Man Brand New Day is definitely still doing gangbusters at the box office. So hold on, because I forgot to put y'all comments up on the side. Now we're there. We can get back into it. Okay, so Spider-Man Brand New Day is continuing to shadow box office expectations. It's continuing to break records. It's a over $2 billion movie. I'm interested to see if they could possibly cross $3 billion. Do you think they might actually be able to do it? I mean, crazier things have happened, but if it does, I'd be here for it. Um, I'm liking the direction it's going into. I love what Destin Daniel Cretton did with Spider-Man Brand New Day. The fact that I think a lot of people, why it's resonating more than any other Spider-Man movie, because I always feel like out of all the previous Spider-Man movies we've gotten, this is the best Spider-Man. I feel like the best reiteration of Spider-Man I've seen in a long time, where we got that final, that balance of Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And I've always said, looking at the previous Spider-Man slash Peter Parkers in Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, I've always felt that Tom Holland embodies both expeditiously. So that's what I pretty much enjoy about these films, that he's able to tap into both sides of those characters. And you see, if you've seen the movie, that he finally comes to terms with embracing both. He doesn't have to choose between one or the other. So seeing him get to that point, and the fact that we finally get to see Spider-Man grow up and branch out on his own and not have, you know, Iron Man and all these other people where he's pretty much a side character in his own movies. I love the fact that this has been like the coming of age of Peter Parker, plus a lot of the commentary and everything that's going on in the movie, the groundedness, the sense of authenticity with the characters. I think that's why so many people are resonating with this film more than any other the Spider-Man movies. So, with all that being said, that's why it's doing well at the box office, so well that it's about to kick Titanic out the all-time top 5 gross movies of all time. So they said Peter Parker. Well, shout out to the Hollywood Reporter for this story, by the way. Now Peter Parker is about to be crowned the new king of the world. Woo! Remember that from the Titanic? I saw that in the movies. um, and well, yeah, I love Titanic when it came out back in the day. And y'all already know that damn Celine Dion song drove us nuts back in the day. But anyway, so Spider-Man Brand New Day is on the verge of knocking Titanic out of the all-time global box office top 5. Over the weekend, Brand New Day racked up another $39 million domestically and a $109 million globally, bringing its total to $854.9 million domestic, 202.22 billion globally. That puts Brand New Day just 44 million shy of overtaking James Cameron's Oscar-winning 1997 hit. Something Brand New Day should easily manage in a week or two. Yeah, you about to get dethroned, Mr. Cameron. Now, Cameron's own 2009 smash Avatar still sits atop of the all-time top 5 with an incredible 2.9 billion lifetime gross, including re-releases, which means it almost grossed $3 billion. But then it probably got there because of the re-releases, not the one time the one time release when it came out. Then comes 2019's Avengers Endgame, which, like Brand New Day, features Tom Holland's Spider-Man at 2.79 billion. Endgame is said to get a re-release on September 25th, and I heard, in case y'all didn't hear, word on the street is tickets for Endgame go on sale tomorrow. I saw that floating around. So I'll definitely be checking so that way I can get me a ticket, because I definitely want to go see Endgame in theaters, because I'm hearing that they're adding extra footage, probably as a way to make sense of how they found a way to interject Doom into this new movie that we got coming out, Doomsday. So they said Endgame is said to get a release September 25th, which will narrow the gap between Endgame and Avatar for the top spot again. Titanic's own box office tally includes a 350 million re-release in 2012. In third is James Cameron's 2022 sequel Avatar: The Way of Water with 2.33 billion. In fourth is the 2025 Chinese animated fantasy adventure Ne Zha 2 with 2.27 billion. I didn't even know that movie made that much money. Now then there's Titanic and the still ascendant Brand New Day with Star Wars The Force Awakens, Avengers Infinity War, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Zootopia 2 rounding out the top 10. Now, given the Brand New Day is only 50 million behind Ne Zha 2, the superhero film is very likely to jump from number 6 on the all-time global top 10 up to number 4. In addition, the film is only a hair behind Endgame domestically, meaning it should become the #2 domestic movie of all time any moment now. Now, previously, when Endgame passed Titanic, Cameron and his Lightstorm production company posted a congratulatory image on social media showing the Avengers A logo sinking the ship of dreams along with the message. An iceberg sank the real Titanic. It took the Avengers to sink my Titanic. Cameron also congratulated Marvel boss Kevin Feige for proving the movie business was alive and well. And then also, in case y'all remember, George Lucas also took out a congratulatory trade ad when Titanic passed Star Wars that showed Star Wars characters on a sinking ship. So I like the fact that, you know what, that people who already have the top spot, they're being very generous. And like, you know what, congratulations. You know, we held out for as long as we could, but you found, no one stays on top forever. So I just like the fact that, I mean, whether it's authentic or not, that they're being good sports and they're sending their congratulations. But I should also say that this past weekend, in case y'all were wondering about the box office, Brand New Day was #1 once again, fending off newcomers Insidious Out of the Further and Jason Statham's action film Mutiny. So congratulations to you, Spider-Man Brand New Day. It's well deserved. Now, speaking of Mutiny and uh Insidious Out of the Further, I don't know if y'all saw that, but let's get into the box office regarding those films. So Insidious Out of the Further occupies second place with an opening weekend of 25.3 million for the sixth installment in the horror franchise. The series hails from Screen Gems, Stage 6 Films, and Blumhouse Atomic Monster, and kicked off with 2011's original Insidious. Without major studio horror releases for the next 4 weeks, Out of the Further aims to extend its run with limited competition. It earned a C+ cinema score, tying 2023's Insidious The Red Door for the series' lowest grade. And here's the thing, I saw Insidious The Red Door. I did not like it. I was considering wanting to go see this movie this weekend, but I was like, I mean, this past weekend, but I was like, I didn't like the last movie, so I didn't really want to take the time to take the risk, even though I got the A list. So whether or not if I liked it or didn't like it, it would have went as part of that whole A list package versus me actually just wanting to rent it at home or wait for it to come out on streaming, whatever the case is. I don't know. It's gonna be a slow week coming up, so I might actually, because there's nothing really coming. Oh wait, there's that movie with Jacob Elordi coming out. What I think I don't even know what that fucking movie's about. It was confusing. That Ridley Scott directed film with Jacob Elordi and Josh Brolin. I kind of want to see it, but I'm not all that excited to be like, oh my god, I gotta rush to the movies and see it. And then there's The Colony, which is that Korean zombie movie that I want to check out. I was looking everywhere to see like if there was tickets for it, but I didn't see any showtimes released yet. So I think maybe I gotta wait until Wednesday because that's usually when AMC, and this is a trick I learned from one of my really close friends who was a manager there. They said they usually release the new weekly schedule on a Wednesday. So I gotta wait till tomorrow for the schedule. So if y'all didn't know that, now you know that they release the schedule on Wednesday. So that way, for the next week or whatever the case. So it's always every Wednesday with the when things go on and the tickets and stuff comes out. So I'm trying to decide. I'm like, okay, so what do I want to take the time to see? And I want to get a ticket to see that film. So I might go see that before I see all the other movies. Now, with its 60.3 million global tally, Out of the Further pushes the total franchise sum beyond 800 million, debuting in 3,330 North American theaters. The new entry stars Emilia Eve, Brandon Perea. Oh, Brandon Perea, he's a cutie. He was in Nope. He was the one with the blonde hair that worked at the Best Buy S type store. So yeah, he's in that. So Brandon Perea and Lynn Shay and centers on a young mother who can bring spirits back with her to the real world. It follows The Red Door, which saw the return of original series star Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne. That one opened to an impressive 33 million domestically before grossing 189 million worldwide throughout its run. And so the thing with these, they make these movies for cheap. People go to see them, and whether or not that they're good, I guess it doesn't matter. They still recoup the money regardless. Now they says, quote, the summer has been so big. This is according to Regal Global Entertainment head of marketing, Vicky Neal. Sorry, no, Vicky Vale was in Batman. Vicky Neal tells the Hollywood Reporter, Spider-Man obviously is huge, and we're seeing horror films as a general rule do extremely well for us. We definitely see a lot of those perform really well with young people. What I'm actually surprised about, well, yeah, besides the fact that yes, horror does well with young people have always liked horror movies. But I'm actually surprised they decided to release this movie in August. Like, I would have expected them to drop it sometime in October or whatever. Unless we don't have a lot of really good horror movies coming out in October. I know we have Clayface coming out. We got Resident Evil coming out next month, which I'm actually looking forward to. I wonder when does that movie come out with speaking of Resident Evil, where oh my god, what's his name? Austin Abrams gets swallowed up by that whale fall. When does that come out? I want to see that. Um, well, yeah, so the production, that's what I said. The movie is going to make its money back because the budget for Out of the Further, it was $18 million. That's how much they spent on the film. And I'm sure they probably didn't break the bank for the marketing. So, yeah. Now, let's get into the mutiny. So, Jason Statham's latest action title picked up 7.5 million for the frame to land in sixth place from 2,600 North American screens. Lionsgate Film earned a B plus cinema score from audiences. Mad River Pictures and Punch Palace Productions produced the project that carries a $40 million production budget. Now, director Jean-Francois Richet's feature stars Statham, a former Marine who sets out to prove his innocence after getting framed for a murder. It holds a 50% approval score from critics on Rotten Tomatoes, but an 80% score from audiences. Well, yeah, because the critics always gonna say it's Jason Statham playing Jason Statham. And to be quite frankly, because I did see the movie over the weekend and I'm a Statham fan, um, he is playing Jason Statham. Jason Statham, like you expect that. Well, I was gonna say you expect the acting range. Here's the thing: Jason Statham can act when he wants to, but with these movies, he's just pretty much just. It's just let me read the script. Let me do the same old fight choreography. And because I remember at one point there was a movie that he was supposed to do, and they wanted him to do some John Wick style fight choreography, and he was against it. I'm like, are you dumb? Like, you could have really popularized that. But of course, my Virgo twin, Keanu Reeves, always got to be the one that breaks the mold and changes the way that we see films. Particularly, he changed the science fiction action world with The Matrix, and then he changed the way we see cinema again with the John Wick films. So I like Jason Statham, but I need him to start taking a little more chances with the action stuff. Like to me, I guess the word I'm looking for is he was phoning it in. It's an entertaining watch. It's is this something that you need to run to the movies to go see? No, I mean if you go see the movie in the movies, you'll enjoy it because it's like and the script is kind of predictable. Like you can pretty much figure out who was behind the killing and the framing and all that other stuff. Like I figured out the damn film like 30 minutes in who was behind what. So it's not rocket science getting through the script. The script is, the plot is about as thin as Trump's hairline, or it goes as far back as Stephen A. Smith's hairline. But at the end of the day, it's an entertaining watch. You'll see Jason Statham kicking butt and killing people in crazy, inventive ways. The problem is the middle part kind of drags where it's like y'all trying to stall being on this boat. And it's a 90-minute movie, so it goes by relatively quickly. But there were moments when you could kind of tell, okay, y'all are just stalling to make sure this movie hits the 90-minute mark. Like it just felt like that to me. And I don't feel like certain characters were utilizing her, particularly the girl that was on the ship that he was working with. Like she wasn't really utilized as much too. She was kind of like doing things, but y'all were wasting her. I just felt like she was wasted. And I feel like if you're gonna have a fellow co-star in the film, you got to give people stuff to do. So I don't know if it'll make us money back, but they said it. Mutiny follows Shelter, which opened with 5.5 million domestically earlier this year for Black Bear. I do remember that. So it brought in 5.5. This movie brought in 7.5. What I'm kind of wondering with this is that with it opening up at these low numbers, does that mean that audiences are starting to look at Jason Statham the way we started looking recently at Dwayne Johnson, where y'all not seeing it for him anymore? It's like, okay, he's just giving us the same movies. Like, I'm not just gonna, it's whatever. So I'm wondering if that's what the case is. Are people just over Jason Statham at this point? Because that don't sound good, but we'll see if the movie makes his money back. The Odyssey also came out in third place with an estimated 19.5 million for its sixth weekend to bring its domestic total to 5.39 million. So congratulations to them. And speaking of which, because you know what, I might as well combine both stories in regards to this. So I have some news. Speaking of the Odyssey, when will the Odyssey hit home viewing? Because I'm sure there's people out there that haven't seen the movie. Like the other day, before my parents, go back to Virginia, whatever the case was, I took them to go see Spider-Man Brand New Day. And then they were mentioning because we were right next to the IMAX and then we went to Fresh Meadows. So we went to the IMAX, well, we were by the IMAX, and they were like, "Oh, I want to see the Odyssey." First of all, I knew my father would be into the Odyssey because he's into stuff like that. I didn't know and it was my mother that said it. So I'm like, "You want to see the Odyssey?" I'm not trying to insult her intelligence or whatever, but I just feel like, I don't know if she has like the patience to sit through, because she don't have no patience, quite as she a Capricorn. They ain't got no damn patience. So her sitting there and just wanting to sit through a 3-hour movie. Yeah, the action scenes come or whatever the case is, but there's a lot of dialogue and a lot of talking. And I'm like, will you have the patience to sit here through all of this stuff without, because, ma'am, you're not getting on that damn phone and start playing your solitaire or drawing your little pictures, because you know how some people get. And I'm like, in the movie theater, I don't like that light or distractions. I get irritated. Whether it's people I know or people I don't, I will give them a look like, bitch, turn that shit off. Not next to me. So I have the actual situation of when it's coming out. So, according to Variety, they revealed that the Odyssey will be released on digital and 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray on November 17th. Typically, a new movie hits digital platforms first, but that would not be the case with Nolan's latest epic. So they're releasing all of this out a week. Y'all think y'all slick. Y'all trying to release all of this a week before Thanksgiving, give or take. So they said this is the same approach that Universal took with Oppenheimer, which also arrived on premium video on demand and physical media at the same time. Details on special features, deleted scenes, and a potential director's commentary have not been revealed. We'd expect that to be released in the coming weeks once pre-orders go live. A 3-month exclusive window in theaters could mean that the Odyssey adds a little more to its current box office cum as well, saying it never gets any easier because I make films for audiences and audiences tell me what it likes, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So that's Christopher Nolan talking. But yeah, now y'all have a release date. So if you haven't, and that makes sense because that you're talking about, oh, it's going to come out on November 17th, because didn't they say that IMAX is booked until October for the Odyssey? So it's definitely a movie that's going to be just doing gangbusters at the box office for now. And why not? Just milk the film as much as you can and until, you know, we get close to the holidays and you release it. So there you have it, So I want to say all this to y'all. What do you think of all of this that I just put on y'all regarding Spider-Man Brand New Day's box office, where it's about to dethrone the Titanic? It's going to sink the Titanic again, where we have the T on the Odyssey and also the box office with all the movies that came out this weekend. So all that I'm bringing on y'all, definitely leave your comments down below. Then Courtney needs to sue the person that started the rumors that she unalived her husband because that's part of her reputation. You're late. I said, did you see the 3-paragraph essay I wrote in your Facebook comment section? No. I have not been on social media all day because I've been putting this damn show together. Not a 3-paragraph essay. Wasn't Titanic the most spent on film when it came out? 300 million? I mean, I would not be surprised. Hold on, let me look at the budget. Well, you were $100 million over. So you lost Bob Barker. We're doing the prices right. No, it said it had an estimated production budget of 200 million. So yeah, at the time, because it was what 100, what was it? But then again, the marketing they probably spent on the marketing, $100 million. But they said James Cameron originally pitched the film to Paramount Pictures with a $100 million budget. But I guess because of the film and everything, they probably had to throw a little more extra money. And you know what? It was a smart move because a $200 million budgeted movie, the movie grossed over $1 billion at the box office. So they recouped their money. So yeah, they paid it was the budget was 200 mil, which sounds about right. I'm going to see the Transformers 1986 animated film Saturday, September 19th, 40th anniversary reissue in theaters. I didn't even know about it. Black Love is in the building. He said, we got Buddy this Friday, a hard take on Barney. I'm excited for it. Ew. Well, look, if only they would do that with that. What was that stupid movie that they had with the little robotic bears and shit that was part of Peacock? And those movies were terrible. Not and I always hate you. You hate me. Oh, you talking about Barney, that Buddy or whatever the hell his name is? Okay. Um, let's get back into some more topics, y'all. And let's talk about Hayden Panettiere. So Hayden Panettiere, she's been not in the union for the past couple of days. Well, maybe I guess we could say a week, right? Like, how about she ain't even buried yet? And her mother, who no shade, looks a hot mess. Have y'all seen what her mother looked like? I was like, what happened to her? She used to look good on the right. On the left, she literally looked like Cruella Deville. But anyway, she took her old looking ass, because hate ages you. I mean, ask Stephen Miller. Um, she took her ass over there to Good Morning America and decided to go on this whole thing where she's blaming the media for how they coming at her because Holly Robinson Pete threw shade at her on how she's reacting to her mother's death. I mean, her daughter's death. Gail King had made some comments. And Ruby Rose actually, which I thought was kind of weird. She posted some personal text messages between her and Hayden regarding Hayden's mother. And then I remember also this whole thing where if you read Hayden's book, when she finally fired her mother because she felt like her mother was treating her more like a cash cow than her own daughter, because Hayden never had the opportunity to decide whether or not she wanted to be an actor. She was an actor before she even could be able to speak. She's been acting since she was a baby. Her mother put her in front of the lights and everything before she had before she could consent that that's what she wanted to do. She was forced into Hollywood. So that's all she knew. So when she finally found the courage to fire her mother during the whole Heroes era, she said that her mother said to her, "Oh, you owe me." So with all that being said, let's get into the tea. So Ada Panettiere's mother, Leslie Vogel, is clapping back at her critics, disputed a claim in her late daughter's memoir that she said the actress and says the actress went downhill after being cast in Heroes during an interview with Good Morning America on Monday. Well, here's the thing. When she went on Heroes, that's when her career blew up. Because before that, she was doing commercials. Then she was on One Life to Live. She started doing the soaps for a second. And then she went and did Heroes, Save the Cheerleader, Save the World. Her career blew up from there. And how did she go on a downward spiral? I mean, it could have been that she could have been introduced to a lot of things. I mean, one, she was a teenager messing around with her co-star Milo Ventimiglia, who was way too old to be messing with her at the age he was at, because he was a grown ass man messing with a teenager. And I know these kids be wise beyond their years because of the industry, but still, you think that you wise beyond your years and you grown, but you don't really have the mental capacity to understand what's happening in regards of like a relationship or whatever the case is. But I can totally understand why she gravitated towards a man that was older, whatever the case, or may have been mature, because when you don't have parents to protect you or parents who guide you and are in your life for all the right reasons, a lot of times kids are going to go run over to whatever they latch on to get that love and support and that guidance. I know, because when I was struggling going through my sexuality and all other stuff, I did gravitate, and I felt like I couldn't be open or accepted by it, because when you grow up in a household when your father's black and stuff, and they look at being gay as an abomination or whatever the case is, I gravitated towards older men looking for that guidance and things of that nature. So I totally understand, especially when I was underage. So I totally understand the reasons behind why Hayden might have latched on to the type of relationship she latched on to. Good, bad, or indifferent. I think people need to look at nuances before they be so, you went and hunched a young grown man, um, pedophile, a groomer, all that shit Gen Z be saying. Because they did that to Hillary Duff. You don't know what Hillary Duff's situation was when she got with one of the Madden twins. Especially when it's like these kids are all up in this industry at such a young age and they around all these adults. But anyway, so I have the full interview. If we get flagged or whatever the case is, we'll just have to, I'll edit it out. But she said it's like a 7-minute video. I just want to see if it gets a little boring, whatever, we'll cut it off. But I didn't watch it, so I don't know where to cut it off. But it's like, if the instinct hits me, I'm like, okay, we heard enough. So yeah, so we're gonna play this full interview, or most of it, and then we are going to come back and we're gonna talk. Please hold.
How are you doing?
It's a process, and I think it will probably hit me later on.
Hold on, because I'm trying to. Okay, we'll leave it like that. Okay, I hope we're not gonna be doing this.
Say to the haters out there, you don't have a right to tell me how I mourn the loss of my second child. That's my domain.
Leslie Vogel, a mother grieving the loss of her superstar daughter and their complicated relationship, opening up about the moment she got the news that her daughter had died in a South Carolina apartment at just 36 years old.
What was that moment like for you?
I was numb. I was just numb. I just couldn't feel anything. I still am not grasping this as real. It just doesn't feel real. My mind tells me it's not at times. It's going to be a process. I need a minute, guys.
Yes.
According to the police report, Hayden's on and off again boyfriend, Brian Hickerson, and his brother, Zach, were the last two people to see Hayden alive. The case is now under investigation. Brian had previously pleaded no contest in 2021 to felony charges he abused Panettiere. According to Leslie, their relationship with Hickerson accelerated in 2018 after Hayden handed over custody of her then 4-year-old daughter, Kaya, to her ex-fiancé, Vladimir Klitschko.
The situation with Hayden and Vlad and their daughter, that was a very difficult period for her. Vlad had taken over custody, for safety. In my opinion, that was the catalyst, that she just couldn't keep those demons away. I think she struggled, and Brian came into her life. She was vulnerable.
The mother-daughter duo intertwined personally and professionally from the time Hayden first appeared on screen. Born to shine, the actor started appearing in commercials as a baby, moving on to soaps and eventually TV dramas and film.
This is one of my faves. This is from In the Limousine on the way to the premiere of A Bug's Life.
Leslie sharing several photos of Hayden's early life with us.
You said people don't know the truth about your and Hayden's relationship. What was the truth about your relationship?
I would say Hayden had a very happy life up until she got Heroes at 16. So here she was, the star of a major TV series. But I would say at about 17, I started seeing her going downhill. As she got older, then it wasn't my voice anymore. I wasn't in charge of her choices. I tried to give her the best advice I could. But again, any young person, teen, They want to be liberated. And I get that. I did get that.
Hayden and her mom weren't speaking in the star's final months. 1 year ago, her mom says she went to stay with Hayden to help her. She says Hayden wanted out of her relationship with Brian.
She knew that Brian was toxic. She knew she had to get him out of her life.
But things took a turn after about 6 weeks. She noticed Hayden pulling away, so she went back to her home in Florida.
What made you leave? What happened
Well,
between the two of you?
When I got the phone call from her saying, I'm going to be with the person I love. And I said, I just lost it. I lost it. I could not believe that she had gone that far back, that he had been successful in reeling her back in with all of the things he had done to her.
Vogel says Hayden was seeing Hickerson again. She gave Hayden an ultimatum. She says on the advice of her therapist, she told Hayden she couldn't talk to her if Brian was part of her life. And that was the beginning of their estrangement.
I needed it. I needed to.
Hold on. First of all, I'm not going to listen to no damn therapist tell me, but like, I got to choose between my child and a man that's toxic. I'm like, I'm going to do what I got to do to try to fight to get my kid away from a toxic ass man. Now, I know that there are people out there that will fight, that'll be like, you know what? Sometimes as a grown person, you got to learn to, they got to learn on their own or whatever the case is. I understand like sometimes it's like that, but if this man is abusive or whatever, I guess it's like you can only do but so much. But I'm not going to give up easily on my kid. I'm always going to find ways to help get them away from someone who's toxic. I get the whole liberating thing and wanting to get away from somebody who's and want to do things on your own. But there has to come I don't know. I just think that it's. Unfortunately, Hayden's not here to defend herself because it's like all the stuff she said about her mother in the book. Are you saying all of that is a lie? Because she's saying, like, she's making it seem like, oh, well, all that stuff in there wasn't true. So this girl was making stuff up? Because it definitely seemed like you was a momager more than a mother. And that's what she wanted. She wanted that love, and she wasn't clearly getting it from you and your husband.
To have that pocket of time. Of course, I thought it was going to be a pocket of time. I did not, by any stretch of the imagination, think that this was going to happen to Hayden. I don't know why, I just didn't. Maybe I didn't want to.
Hayden released a book about her life, This Is Me, A Reckoning, back in May. In it, she recalls telling her mom at 19 that she didn't want Vogel to manage her career anymore. And Vogel replied, "You owe me." Vogel remembers that moment, but says her version doesn't match Hayden's.
I remember being in her trailer and literally saying nothing. I knew that day would come. It's not that I didn't expect it, but it was very short, very brief conversation. And then she turned and went to set.
Did it hurt to read that in the book?
You know, it just, I know I didn't say what she said I said.
Vogel lost her son Jansen in 2023, just 28. He was Hayden's little brother.
You've now lost 2 children in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
For drugs.
Where do you go from here?
Just trying to I think you just have to find that inner strength. I have been knocked down throughout my life, and I am not complaining because I have the strength to get back up. And that really is, it's not if we fall, it's how we get back up that defines who we are.
What do you want Hayden to be remembered for?
I want Hayden to be remembered for the talented, beautiful, outgoing, intelligent woman she really was. But I also want people to understand that it is my belief that she was suffering. Now, that doesn't make sense because when you look at a beautiful girl who's got an incredible career, even though it has had its ups and downs, but you look at that big picture and you go, why would you be suffering? People don't understand that you can have on the exterior all of this, but that doesn't mean that what's going on in here matches.
All right. So, I was like, let me put it back on Miss Hayden if I can get into that picture. Okay, so unfortunately, I'm just like, okay, so yeah, she had all the things. She was successful. She was, she had the career all her life. They were talking about that as she was getting older, that the movies and everything, the opportunities becoming less and less. Although there was a story going around or rumors that the plan, because I remember they were talking about with the upcoming screen films that they were going to bring in, we were going to get, excuse me, more Kirby. So I remember hearing like I don't necessarily know if they were gonna like I'm hearing trilogy or whatever. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I did hear a story regarding that Kirby Reed was gonna, I guess travel off to different places, and there was gonna be her tracking down multiple ghost faces or whatever the case was, and she was gonna be doing the whole FBI thing. So now that's been scrapped. So now they got to figure out a new story to come up with, which I just think like every movie, y'all just need to come up with a new Final Girl and stop making the same Final Girl last for 30 damn years. And y'all just need to find new creative ways to come up with that. But I just feel like that this all had to stem from somewhere. You don't just wake up one day and it's like, you know what? I have this empty soul. A lot of times when people have like they're empty on the inside where they got all this stuff that's been given to them, clearly there's something that they're missing out on. And a lot of it has to probably do with love and affection and someone who genuinely cares for them. Because when you're in Hollywood, everybody's at your beck and call. People are kissing your ass. People aren't really being real and authentic with you. So when you're dealing with those type of situations, maybe that's what she was craving. She was craving someone who genuinely cared about her. And because she was vulnerable, because she was going through what she was going through, apparently she wasn't getting the love that she wanted. So then this person that she was last seen with before she died decides to come into the picture and take advantage when she's at her most vulnerable. Now, speaking of which, let's get into his ass because, there's some stories coming out about him, which Leslie has spoken out about the boyfriend and said some things that's been disparaging, about him and saying that he was like a negative influence on her life. So, yeah, so her mother basically said that she don't believe Brian Hickerson's alleged account of how the hero's actress died, and she also accused him of pawning her daughter's belongings days before her untimely death. Now, Vogel, who has had a rocky relationship with Panettiere when she was estranged from the Nashville alum before her tragic death at the age of 36, says she visited her daughter last year in L.A., where she was struggling and in physical pain in an interview with the New York Times published on Sunday. Vogel said she was shocked to find that Hickerson, who filed for bankruptcy in 2022, had pawned some of Panettiere's belongings, including a vintage guitar. She further claimed that Panettiere was also shocked when she found out that her on-again, off-again boyfriend had some of her possessions in his storage unit. The outlet reported that another source confirmed that Hickerson had pawned some of Panettiere's items. Page Six reached out to Hickerson's attorney, Sloan Ellis, about the claims, and his team noted they wouldn't be commenting beyond their previous statement at the time. Now, Ellis previously told Page Six Hayden's death remains under investigation, and it's important to allow the investigation to proceed. Quote, as has been publicly reported, police confirmed there was no signs of foul play. The statement continued. Out of respect for Hayden's loved ones and the ongoing investigation, there will be no further comment at this time. Now, Vogel has made multiple claims against Hickerson, including doubting his alleged story about the day Panettiere died last Sunday at the Airbnb in Greenville, South Carolina, which I was always saying before. How is it that it took y'all 24 hours after y'all flew from LA to South Carolina? She's dead. Like, how did that happen? Like, what were y'all doing? And then he immediately pulls out a big old bag where she got all her prescription medications. I understand that she had like an injury and she's been taking prescription drugs, but I don't know if she was doing prescription drugs and mixing it with alcohol or whatever the case is. But here's the thing. It kind of makes me look at you sideways, Leslie, because y'all all are innocent in this. That she lost a son in 2023, and then 3 years later she loses a daughter, all to the same thing. Every time he had an enlarged heart, but he also was another one that was battling drug use. So how was it that two of your kids are dead from drugs, allegedly? Now, while Hickerson has not commented on Panettiere's death aside from a statement through his attorney, his brother, Zach, who was also on the scene when the actress died, claimed that Brian used Narcan on Panettiere and performed CPR on her when he discovered her unconscious. Now, if you're walking around with Narcan, y'all already know what that means. Who walks around with Narcan just on a whim? So, and especially when Brian has had a history of battling drugs and things of that nature. So, TMZ previously reported that Narcan, a medicine typically used to quickly reverse an opioid overdose, was found on the scene. There was a lot of assumptions, speculations, and accusations currently swirling. This is what Zach told the outlet on Friday. Well, look, I hope that they just figure all this out. I know they said they did a toxicology and no signs of foul play, but y'all need to do a real autopsy. That's a toxicology, add that in there too, and find out like what is it that she really passed away from? What did y'all find in her damn system? Because they said they found out she was in a chair, unresponsive. He was out, the brother was sleeping. You sitting there pawning her stuff. And then Panettiere's neighbor exclusively told Page that she saw the late actress being taken out of her LA apartment on a gurney by firefighters on 2 occasions during her and Brian's troubling relationship. And then, they met in 2018 and they said they had a rocky relationship. He was arrested multiple times for DV against the actress, and she wrote about his abuse in her memoir, which I believe he read, and then he had taken responsibility for, if I remember correctly, on the abuse and stuff that happened in their relationship, and then all of a sudden y'all get back together. So what did he do? Just run up and say, "Oh, I read the book and I want to try to make it work," and also like fed her a bunch of BS, and then all of a sudden now she dead. When it's basically a a, a grade A narcissist, someone who couldn't even hack it in Hollywood because he was a struggling actor, trying to mooch off of her. So you sitting there pawning her stuff for what? To be able to live or to have money or whatever the case is. So he's sitting there throwing, I think she said that he threw a remote at her or something, or he was very abusive. Where you going around beating her up. So you beating her up, and then of course she's got the injury from when I think she was riding a zebra and fell off and had hurt her back. But that wasn't the only thing. So there was also this story I came across, and then we could wrap this up. Hayden Panettiere's boyfriend apparently was pressuring her to have a baby, and this is according to Rob Shutter over on his Substack. So they said Brian Hickerson wanted a baby from Hayden Panettiere, and sources tell Naughty But Nice he was pushing for it despite his serious reservations. The issue was especially sensitive because Hickerson knew Hayden had previously suffered severe postpartum depression following the birth of her daughter Kaya. And you already heard what her mother said, that when Hayden was going through her mental health struggles, whatever, after having the kid, because it seems like a lot of women go through that. Like she said, she almost died from giving birth to her daughter. So her first pregnancy, her first and only pregnancy, was not an easy one. Probably because she's so damn petite. But it wasn't an easy pregnancy for her. And then after that, you're dealing with postpartum depression, you're dealing with a lot of mental health issues. And Vladimir went and took the kid and raised the child for the kid's own well-being because Hayden was going through her struggles. And now you're trying to push this girl to have your kid. They said Brian wasn't casually talking about someday becoming a father. He was pushing Hayden to have a baby with him. She understood exactly what another pregnancy could potentially mean for her emotionally, and she wasn't convinced it was something she wanted to risk. Well, yeah, because it's like, and if you want to have another baby, why would you want to have another baby with him? Especially with his history. And this might explain the pawn stuff, pawning of her items, but it's also want to say Brian was struggling financially. So people absolutely question his motives. A baby wouldn't just make them parents, it would connect him to Hayden for the rest of his life. That raised alarm bells. But yeah, this is how a lot of these women do. But they want to be closely associated with these rich men or whatever the case is. So they get a baby out of them so that way they be forever connected. And then you ended up getting money out of the situation. Because if he's struggling financially, Hayden's the one that's the breadwinner. She still gets parts out here. I mean, when she was alive, she was still getting parts out here. She was still beloved by a lot of people in the industry. She could have just went off and did Scream movies for the rest of her life. She could have been the new Dewey. Well, in the sense of being a cop, but not the Dewey-isms. The Dewey-isms could have been for, I don't know, Chad, or whatever character y'all can come up with. Now, they also say Hayden knew how badly things had gone after Kaya. She had lived through postpartum depression, addiction, and a heartbreak of being separated from her daughter. Brian wanted a baby. Hayden understood the possible consequences. That was the tension between them. So it's like, look, if you were just trying to force this girl to have a baby and she just wasn't mentally and physically equipped to even put her body through that, especially being 36, especially having taking prescription medications and dealing with injuries to her body or whatever. She's not trying to risk bringing another baby in the world. So the smartest thing she did was not have another baby with this man, or another baby, let alone with this man. So good on her, but still, we need to find out what happened to her. And y'all could throw his ass under the jail if he had something to do with it. So I say all this to say, and even if he didn't have anything to do with it, or he was in close proximity, he was doing his abusive thing, you're gonna have to live with the consequences of whatever happened if you don't get sent to jail for whatever happened. You know what happened that day. You were there. You're just going to have to live with them consequences for the rest of your life. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding the latest on Hayden Panettiere, her mother in that interview, as well as the rumors regarding that he was pressuring Hayden to have his kid. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in them good old comments down below. Yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's. Those movies were terrible. Mhm. All right, y'all. So now let's get to this heavy story. Let's go over to Disney. So there's a former child star named Raquel Lee who was on the Amanda show back in the good old Disney, and the Proud Family. She was the only black girl on the damn show. She said that an ex-employee R-worded her when she was 14 while working on the 2001 movie The Proof Point. So for those of y'all who need a refresher on what she looked like, let's pull up the picture. In a new court filing, the former child actress Raquel Lee alleges she was repeatedly R-worded and SA'd by a Disney worker during production of The Proof Point, a 2001 Disney Channel original movie. The suit, which doesn't name the perpetrator, accuses the studio of negligence. Lee, who was 14 years old at the time, claims that a middle-aged male employee who was involved in the filming of the movie groomed and then assaulted her, first on multiple occasions in his room at a hotel where the cast and crew were staying during production in Salt Lake City, that's in Utah, and then later on a flight back to LA. In addition, the alleged assailant regularly whispered sexually explicit and harassing comments into her ear while on set and used hugs to get close to her. The complaint contends that this misconduct was done in plain view of the cast and crew and could be heard by the sound technicians managing the cast microphones. Yeah, because I was going to wonder. I'm like, wait a minute. If y'all was up next to each other and weren't y'all mic'd up or whatever the case was, somebody would have this evidence. And then went on to say, yet no one at Disney intervened. The filing also asserts that the man regularly made sexually explicit jokes and commentary on the set around minors, including sexually explicit comments about Lee's body. In addition, she was allegedly allowed to be separated from her. She was allowed to. Oh wait, it said that she was because I was gonna say, wait, was it a woman? In addition, she was allegedly allowed to be separated from her on-set guardian for the vast majority of each day. Lee notes that her professional performance soon noticeably declined and that multiple Disney executives attacked her change behavior and trauma response, accusing her of being out of control, causing the movie to go haywire, needing Jesus, having a demon inside her, and engaging in sex acts with a member of the crew at the age of 14. Wait a minute, is this supposed to be Tara Mother talking over there on True Blood? I got a demon inside me. Remember when she said that on True Blood, and they were trying to literally exorcise the demon from my body, and it was a demon. Tara looked at her mother like, really, bitch? But this is what y'all doing over there at Disney? But look, I believe every word, and you want to know why? Because if they wasn't protecting them kids over there at Nickelodeon, when we saw that little Nickelodeon special that they came out with, where Drake Bell ended up getting all worded by somebody that worked on the show. Why would I not put nothing past the people at Disney? Y'all wasn't protecting kids in the 90s and the 2000s. And you see how fucked up Amanda Bynes is now. When it came to, her and Dan, I was going to say Dan Nigro. Dan, what was it, Schneider? Now, I don't want to bring up the Olivia Rodrigo's producer. He ain't do nothing to her. Okay, so they said Disney threatened to and did cancel her role in a then forthcoming production with the studio. Lee is represented by Doug Wigdor, a prominent plaintiff's employment and sexual misconduct lawyer. He has previously represented Cassie Ventura against Diddy. Nafissatou Diallo, the hotel housekeeper who accused then IMF chief Dominique Strauss-Kahn of sexual assault, and multiple women who alleged misconduct by Harvey Weinstein. Well, child, she got her a good lawyer, so it looked like she might get a little piece of something from Disney. Now, Disney declined to comment on the litigation. In a statement, Wigdor and his colleague Jane Kim said over the last decade, countless child actors have come forward to bravely share their experiences of abuse by adults in entertainment. As former government prosecutors, our message to the the entertainment industry is simple. This conduct is inexcusable, and those involved directly or indirectly must be held accountable. The complaint contends that Lee's experience was part of a long pattern at the studio. This is not the first time that Disney has enabled a sexual predator to target and abuse vulnerable victims. Wigdor's filing cites a litany of previously reported accusations of predatory misconduct over decades, which have been connected to the company. Shortly after the proof point, Lee went on to recur as a voiceover artist on the Disney Channel animated sitcom The Proud Family, and recently participated again in its Disney Plus revival, The Proud Family Louder and Prouder. She also worked with the company when she appeared on FX's Snowfall in 2019. In addition, Lee participated in the hit 2024 docuseries Quiet on Set. Was we were just talking about this? She participated in the docuseries Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV, which she reflected on her treatment as a Black performer on Nickelodeon's The Amanda Show. She didn't levy the proof point claims in the docuseries, which became a cultural phenomenon for its focus on alleged misconduct against child actors. However, after its airing, she noted that Drake Bell's discussion of experiencing on-set sexual abuse was re-traumatizing for her. And that's probably what that was what I was about to say before I got to that sentence, because this is my first time reading all of this, and I brought up Drake Bell earlier, that when she was doing the interview at the time, people who are victims of abuse, they do tend to block out certain traumatic situations that's happened to them. It's a defense mechanism. So your body will block certain things of you remembering happened because you store it away, like in a file cabinet. So she probably wasn't even thinking about that traumatic experience because she was talking about the other stuff and focusing on that. And then when she watched the episodes and Drake Bell talked about him being sexually assaulted, it clicked off in her brain and she was re-traumatized, and that came back, hence why she's now filing her suit. So do I believe her? Of course, yes, I believe her. I don't put like I said, I don't put nothing past y'all doing what y'all did to these kids in Hollywood. The fact that we have been talking about for the past couple of days, especially with the whole thing regarding Hayden Panettiere, that young people are not protected by this industry. We just had Melissa Gilbert talking about it, Rose McGowan, a bunch of child stars are now coming out. Anna Paquin, all saying yeah, they don't protect a lot of the children, the kids out there, particularly young girls. They're the most vulnerable. And you have a lot of these perverts and abusers and molesters and all this stuff running around in this industry. And I love the fact that they're exposing, I'm not saying all of the industry, because it's not. There's a couple of them in there. There's always one rotten apple that's going to spoil the bunch. And I'm glad all this is coming out now. Everything, because everything that's in the dark always comes to the light, as I always say. So I'm glad that they're bringing this forward, and people are speaking out on their experiences. Now we'll just have to see how all this plays out in the courts. But she got her a good lawyer, Savannah. So we'll just have to see how this turns out once, we get more information. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Raquel Lee, who's a former child star over there on the Amanda Show, and the Proud Family is accusing Disney of being complicit in the overall SA of her by an employee that worked on the show. It'll be interesting to see, because she didn't mention the name of the person, but if there were people that were there and they worked on it and they start seeing like some of the time stamps are starting to click, maybe they'll jump in and tell their stories, because I don't think it's just one person this man was doing this towards. There's got to be other young girls that he was out there abusing as well. So, because it's never just a one and done. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, y'all. So now let's get into another interesting topic. Child, let's take it back to the 90s. And let's talk about John Wayne Bobbitt. Y'all probably don't even, a lot of y'all might be a little too young to know about who John Wayne Bobbitt is. But we're going to get into it because the John Wayne Bobbitt story was a mess. So apparently, John Wayne Bobbitt was this guy that allegedly abused physically and sexually his wife, Lorena. I believe this is back in 1993. So one night while he was sleeping, she went in the kitchen, got a knife, cut off his dick, got in the car, drove down the highway, and threw the penis away. Funny enough, I don't know how they did it. The police recovered the penis and they reattached it to his body. And I believe it's still working because Frankenpenis made quite a few appearances in some porn films later down the line. So yeah, they were trying to capitalize on the whole situation, and he ended up doing porn. I don't remember. I don't know if it was because I was way too young. I couldn't even see those adult films back then. I was aware of it because I was in when John Wayne Bobbitt happened. I believe I was in middle school or whatever. But we all knew because we used to do you know how kids are. We all made John Wayne Bobbitt jokes when we was in school, when we were amongst our friends in class and all the other stuff. So I don't know if it was a one and done, kind of like One Night with Kim Kardashian or the Paris Hilton, or if it was multiple movies. But I do remember he did a porn film with that Franken penis. So now they apparently have a anthology series coming out called Good American Family, which they're supposed to focus on with reenactments the John Wayne Bobbitt, Lorena Bobbitt case. So John, who's 59, basically has spoken out because it was announced that the second season of the show will center on his infamous relationship with ex-wife Lorena Bobbitt, who was working as a consultant on the project. Now, in an interview with the U.S. Sun published on Friday, August 21st, John said that he thinks producers should have asked him to consult on the series, and he accused Lorena, who's 57, of continuing to perpetuate a false account of their marriage, saying, quote, her story is false. There is nothing true about her story. My attorney told me about this, and we have court manuscripts and police reports which state that she was never abused. He told the publication, I have no idea what will be in the new documentary, but they had better get ready for a lot of lawsuits. And that's why I was saying, and I was about to say, before I even read the rest of his quote, your lawyer told you about this upcoming anthology series that they're going to have reenactments on all the other stuff in it, correct? You don't know what's going to be set up in this situation, but you sit there and talk about, I'm going to be hit with a lot of lawsuits. I don't know what they're going to put in the show, but if there's something in there that I don't like, I'm going to sue. It's like, can't you just wait to see what the fucking movie is or what the show is before you start running off at the mouth? Look, this is the most press you've gotten in 30 years. Because when it happened, 93? 30 plus years? He also continued to say, my attorney has told me she cannot say I was abusive. I will sue them if they say that. His concerns stem from the allegations made in the case and made him and Lorena a household name more than 3 decades ago. So it was in 93. So yeah, as I said before, I already gave y'all the whole spiel because they talked about the thing in here. It happened on June 23rd, 1993, where she cut off his manhood with a kitchen knife while he was sleeping, and they lived in Manassas, Virginia. Manassas, Virginia. Child, that's where my parents is living. That is funny. She drove away with a severed organ, threw it from the car before they recovered it. Surgeons reattached it, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So Lorena also claimed that John was physically and sexually abused her throughout their marriage and alleged that he had R-worded her before the attack. He has consistently denied the allegations. John was charged with marital sexual assault, but was acquitted by a jury in November of 1993. So if you was look, as OJ said, if the glove don't fit, I guess the condom, you must acquit. So if he was acquitted, like OJ was, but then again, a lot of people believe that OJ didn't kill them people. Some people, I guess, would say that John Wayne Bobbitt did what he did. But he got acquitted, so he didn't go to jail. Now, Lorena was later tried for malicious wounding, but she was found not guilty by reason of temporary insanity in January 1994 and underwent evaluation at a state psychiatric hospital. However, John was later convicted of domestic battery involving another woman. In 1994, he was convicted twice of battering his then fiancee, Christina Elliott, with one judge calling him a bully, according to a report from the LA Times. So I guess at this point, it's like, so Lorena just decided to wake up one morning and cut off your dick for shits and giggles because she thought she'd have a laugh? Let's have a key. I don't think so, sir. You was beating on that lady just like you was beating on your girlfriend or fiance, whoever this was. And then he was convicted of battery involving his then wife, Joanna Farrell, in 2003. So every woman you've got in a relationship with, you was beating on him. So Lorena was just lying? So how two other women come out, one in 1994 and one in 2003. Every woman you've been with, you put your hands on them. So they all making it up? Child, this time I would have cut your dick off and flushed it down a fucking toilet. That's what I would have did. Now, as their story gets ready to return to the spotlight, John maintains that he was the victim in their relationship and said he wants Hulu to present his version of events as well. Well, here's the thing. Why don't you go on some Groyper's fucking podcast? Why don't you go over there with Joe Rogan and the rest of them morons and do your little interview? I'm sure they would love to have your man baby ass over there and they can go and let you do your little show or spew whatever you need to spew. But you ain't got the money, the power, or the wherewithal to take on Hulu. So if that's what you want to do, sir, be my guest. But all the women couldn't have been lying on you and making up the fact that you was beating on them. 3 women came out and said you was abusive to them. It's not a coincidence. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? I don't know when it's gonna air. The first season of the show focused on Natalia Grace. The second season, as I said, will dramatize the Bobbitt case. Who knows when this is going to come out? I do agree that if you're going to do a John Wayne Bobbitt situation, you should have hit him up and asked. So we're putting this thing together. Do you have anything you want to add? Or I'm sure they probably looked into, because these studios, they all have lawyers and people that look into stuff to protect themselves from any kind of legality. I'm sure they definitely looked into the case before they decided to go forward with this series. This ain't some you know BS crap made up propaganda situation that you're getting from T Pussy to Pussy, as I like to call it, TPUSA, or Ben Shapiro and his company with that stupid run, hide, fight, infidel. Have y'all seen the trailer for that mess? That movie looks god awful. And the propaganda they spewing up in there is even worse. So yeah, I don't know. Will y'all be watching this when it come out? Whenever it comes out, I don't know when because they didn't give no date, but it's coming. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. I was like, what was this? Oh, some fucking not StreamYard. It's from the other thing. All right, now let's move on and let's talk about Wendy Williams. How you doing? So Wendy Williams is back in the news. Start spreading the news. I'm living today. Well, yeah, she's in the news. There's a video of her talking about how she want out of her conservatorship. She's gonna have to do what she got to do to get out of it. I don't know how she gonna. I don't know when. I don't know how. I hate when it just starts. Like I don't know what's going on with Instagram, but they do these automatic plays, which is kind of annoying. But anyway, so yeah, she's pleading for freedom in her latest public sighting since February as she remains stuck in an ongoing court-ordered guardianship case. So the former daytime talk show host, who's 66, was spotted walking in New York City when a member of the paparazzi asked her what she wished her fans knew about what she wished her fans knew about what she's been going through, according to video footage published by Page Six. I was like, okay, USA Today, what kind of sentence was that? But anyway, I got the clip. We're going to hear from the horse's mouth, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk. Please hold. Please play. What's going on?
Hey, Wendy, what do you wish people knew about what you're going through?
I want out.
Well, good luck. Hope it happens. Hey, Wendy.
Yeah, that's over there by Hudson Yard. Yeah, I think that it. Wait a minute, that is Sailor Mermaid building. Yeah, I'm telling y'all where he lived. But anyway, so yeah, Wendy Williams said that she want out of her conservatorship, her guardianship, whatever the hell it is you want to call it, and yeah, so I don't know how she's gonna get out of it. All these people that's supposed to be trying to help her get out of the situation, they haven't done it yet. So let's get into the rest of the story. So yeah, now the TV personality, as y'all know, has been under a conservatorship since May 2022 after her bank. So that's 4 years after her bank institution. Wells Fargo filed a petition arguing that Williams was an incapacitated person and a victim of undue influence and financial exploitation. The former Wendy Williams show host was diagnosed with primary progressive aphasia and frontotemporal dementia in 2023. In February 2024, a statement to USA Today, Williams's representative said she is able to do many things for herself and was involved in selecting her care team. In June of 2025, her ex-husband Kevin Hunter filed a lawsuit in federal court in New York over her improper legal deficient and overreaching guardianship. The complaint alleged unlawful restraint upon Ms. Hunter's civil liberties and that are a substantial departure from the accepted professional judgment, practices, and standards by the defendants and include guardian Sabrina E. Morrissey and Wells Fargo. The complaint also shared that Williams passed a competency evaluation in or around March 2025 and was described by healthcare professionals as alert and oriented during a welfare check. Well, multiple welfare checks, I should say. In a December 2025 segment on ABC News Nightline, Wendy attorney Joe Tacopina revealed that a New York City neurologist who specializes in Alzheimer's disease, Dr. Samuel E. Gandy, disagreed with her 2023 brain disorder diagnosis after evaluation. He said that she does not have frontotemporal dementia and that her facilities were impacted by alcohol addiction or faculty, sorry. But we all knew that. It was the fact that, yeah, when she was drinking heavily and when you black out from drinking, that's causing spottiness in your brain, which means that it will fuck up your memory. So if that is something that's causing her to forget or not remember certain things, or the dementia, if you want to call it that, then yeah, it was because of alcohol. You drinking bottles until you pass out or you black out, that causes spots in the brain. So yeah, I do believe that she has alcohol-induced dementia, not frontal temporal dementia, because you can mess up your brain depriving it of oxygen when you drink, because alcohol dehydrates the body. That may have been something Wendy was suffering from back in 2023, 24. She was an alcoholic, no question about it. Wendy was drunk almost 24 hours a day. She looked like she needed help. She did need help. She needed alcohol rehabilitation. He clarified that Williams does not drink alcohol anymore. Now, Morrissey's attorney responded to the statement on Nightline, saying that Ms. Morrissey emphatically denies any wrongdoing, mismanagement, or self-dealing with regarding to Ms. Williams's guardianship. All the court-appointed guardian activities are regulated and supervised by the court. So hopefully they can find a way to get. Look, I'm just tired of talking to I'm blue in the face about what it is that she needs. I just feel like the court system is corrupt. She definitely needs some type of freedom. I definitely feel like She doesn't need to be in a guardianship. What she does need is somebody who can handle her finances and handle her day-to-day needs and stuff, but let her go about her day, and someone who makes sure that she still them damn drugs, meaning the alcohol. So it was good that she was walking around, freely in them little short shorts on her bag or whatever the case is. Like, she's not needing support from what we saw. She's still able-bodied and able to get around and all this other stuff. I mean, that wig could use a little brush. Like, man, how you leaving the house with that raggedy ass wig on? But it's just sad that she's stuck in this position. And a lot of people sit up here and say it's the son. He basically took advantage of her finances. The husband took advantage of her finances. Another one who wanted love from people and they weren't giving it to her in return. So shout out to you, Wendy. Sad to hear everything that's going on. Hopefully it all works out, but I don't know. It just every time I turn around, it's like we just repeating the same damn story. It's like we on the same goddamn merry-go-round, doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over. So all right, so there you have it. What do you guys think of this story? She basically just kept it short and sweet. She said, I want out of this conservatorship. And it just doesn't seem like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So whatever your thoughts are on this story, let me know in the comments down below. All right, y'all. So now let's move on with our next topic. And let's talk about Tanta, who was in the news regarding, well, it was a story I came across from us. Well, not us. It was the U.S. Well, it was U.S. Sun. So take the us, turn to U.S. U.S. Sun did a story on Madonna and Kylie Minogue because, Madonna and Kylie's been hanging out a lot lately. What had happened was, Madonna released Confessions 2. Then she was doing the promotional situation. She sat down with Graham Norton, where Kylie Minogue popped out and was the bartender. And of course, what was on everybody's mind, even before the Graham Norton interview, even before Confessions 2 came out, people were asking, so was there a Madonna-Kylie collaboration? People thought there was literally a Kylie Minogue Madonna collab on the album. Of course, when we listened to the album, it wasn't on there because the one thing that Madonna and Kylie fans, who I think we all share a kinship in a lot of ways, Madonna and Kylie are similar, but not really. Yes, they do the pop thing. Yes, they're white women 10 years apart in age, and they're both blonde. They do catchy pop songs. They have a huge gay fan base. But I think that's the only thing that's different. Kylie's music is completely different than what Madonna does. Kylie's foundation, yes, she experiments, but her foundation's always been dance and it's always been pop and that sort of thing. Madonna definitely is more of the more experimental one and likes to shake the table in regards of commentary. Kylie is not that type of girl. Kylie will get up there and be like, I'm a show pony, and that's no shade. She's a show girl. She gets up there, she does her shows. She's, charismatic and performs and talks to the audience and banters and all that stuff. And she plays the hits. And she'll throw a couple of new songs up in there, but she basically she will give you a show. She is a showgirl. I mean, one of her tours was called Showgirl. I think it was the one after she came back from the cancer scare. So, but Madonna, she's always about the controversy and pushing people's buttons and all this stuff. She's style and substance. I'm not saying that Kylie ain't substantial or she has substance behind stuff, but Kylie is someone who doesn't want to ruffle feathers. And we like that. So these two, of course, a no-brainer. They finally came together. They did the oh my God, why am I forgetting the name of the damn song? Come and get with me. There's something I gotta do. Y'all know that song. Love Sensation. Why did the name just escape me? I had to sing the damn song to remember it. But anyway, so they did the remix of Love Sensation, which you already know from the beginning. I wasn't necessarily a fan of the production. I think Stuart Price did the remix. I wasn't a fan of the beat at first. It's grown on me. So, because I've been watching a lot of people's reactions to the video, I should have did one, but I was just like, whatever. So yeah, I watched the reaction videos that people were doing, started getting into, I'm like, okay, I like it. I actually like Kylie's voice on it. I think they complement each other vocally on the track. So then I had to come across this story. They were trying to say Kylie is morphing into her close pal Madonna. I don't know if I agree with that headline because it makes it seem like she's trying to be her, which, if you've ever followed Kylie's career, she was always bombarded with Madonna comparisons, but she never was think about it like Lady Gaga was when she sat down and did that interview with that old instigating ass heifer, Zane Lowe. And I got that clip because we're going to play it in case y'all forgot. But I want to get into this first. So, pop icon Madonna has long championed Kylie Minogue, and the Aussie singer now appears to be returning the compliment by morphing into Madge. That's why I said I don't particularly like that. I think it was that Kylie was coming into Madonna's world in regards to this era and the song because they had like the matching purple outfits, the blonde hair, and they were kind of like looking like Kylie looked like Madonna's little sister. So my little baby sister can do it with ease. So come on and do the locomotion with me. You gotta swing. Now, why am I thinking of the local? Because I was like, said the baby sister thing. But anyway, so a source said Kylie and Madonna have known each other for 2 decades, but over the past few years, they have grown closer. There was a lot of mutual admiration for both being strong women in the industry who have stood the test of time. They have always toyed with the idea of working together. Now, Kylie, who's 58, and Madonna, who's 68, have provided the soundtrack to our lives for more than 4 decades and anthems of love, joy, and heartbreak. Between them, the duo have notched up a total of 102 top 10 hits, including their joint single Love Sensation, which is a remix of a track from Madonna's latest album, Confessions 2. Music industry insiders have hailed the collaboration as a genius move, combining their loyal armies of fans to create a more formidable force. And I said, this feels more authentic to me than her collaboration with Sabrina. Now, don't get me wrong. I like the fact that because I thought Sabrina's voice complements Madonna's as well when they did Bring Your Love. But I don't know if the Sabrina fans have fully come on board with embracing Madonna. The Kylie fans and Madonna fans, it feels more appropriate because, like I said, they've both given us 4 decades of music and we're all in around the same age range. But I also feel like Kylie has young fans and Madonna has young fans. So there's like, their fans are generational. Sabrina fans are still relatively young. They're all within her age range. And I'm sure Sabrina's got older fans that like her stuff, but not to the extent of like Madonna and Kylie. So this collaboration feels way more. It feels it feels right versus the Sabrina collaboration. You know, a lot of people accuse me, oh, you're just trying to latch on to the hottest, youngest thing. So the pair have been dropping hints that they plan to team up before Kylie made a surprise appearance last month during Madonna's Club Confessions concert at World Pride Amsterdam to debut their new duet. The crowd went wild, and the song later reached number 8 on the UK charts, as well as hitting top spot in the States. Both stars have managed to maintain hugely successful careers since they debuted in the 80s. They shaped modern pop and dance music, the Madonna with hits such as Hung Up, while Kylie released anthems such as Spinning Around. And they both constantly reinvented themselves, changing their image to stay ahead of the competition. But rather than pitching themselves as bitter rivals, Kylie and Madonna openly supported each other. And their latest work on a joint track makes perfect sense, given the many similarities between them. So, showbiz PR and marketing expert Mark Burkowski says it's genius because it brings together two powerhouses and creates a huge new audience. Their collective creative ideas have served them well for decades. Both Kylie and Madonna have always been brilliant at reinventing themselves, and this looks like a cynical commercial decision. I don't know if I like the word cynical because the cynical makes it sound like just okay, what's the agenda behind all this? Like this ain't no real there's nothing authentic about it. I know at one point it was gonna be inevitable that Madonna was gonna have to do a collaboration with Kylie because I'm like, she never really no shade, but Madonna never really does stuff specifically for the fans. It's always to her that I want to just do what I want to do creatively for me. And as an artist, you should be allowed to do that. But I'm like, look, we've been clamoring for a Madonna Kylie collaboration for a long time. And we love the fact that Madonna brought Kylie out on a celebration tour, and they sang each other's song. Where they did "Can't Get You Out of My Head," and they did, where they sang together. And then we like when y'all came together on the Graham Norton thing. And I like that y'all y'all been out and about a couple of times, and y'all definitely seem like there's a genuine kinship and a genuine friendship that's there. I guess because Madonna's a lot older, and she was at death's door at one point. She's warmed up to being a little more open with people. I mean, in a way, she has kind of been a champion of other women. Back in the day, not so much. And we're going to get into that when we talk about the legendary read she had from Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, and Lady Gaga. So we're going to get to that because that's coming up. So yeah, he was trying to say it's a publicity stunt to get the algorithms up. This is not a fully blown showmance, but it's not far off. Two is always better than one, and these two are definitely stronger together. The music industry is the business of show. It's all about making money, and to do that now, you need to get the clicks. In a world of AI, you're lucky to get 15 seconds of fame. Never mind 15 minutes. You have to keep being original to stay relevant, and it's hard to do that when you have a pop star who's pretty much done everything to the point where there's no new ideas. But Madonna always tries to find a way to reinvent herself. And she did when she pretty much did the whole, I'm going to give y'all 6 tracks of this album and we're going to create music videos within those 6 songs. We haven't seen an artist really do that. So yeah, but you know that she don't really have much time for other major female stars following her footsteps. At one point, she branded Lady Gaga amusing and reductive in 2012 for supposedly copying her music, while in the early 90s, she described Whitney Houston as horribly mediocre. I forgot the reason why she called Whitney mediocre. Child, quiet as it's kept, black people was calling her mediocre because they was feeling like she was making music for white folks. Black people wasn't all that kind of Whitney Houston when she first came out and she started doing them little pop songs. Y'all was real shady towards her and winning all them awards on them white shows like the American Music Awards and things of that nature. And Whitney had to remind her, yes, I am a sister. Don't play in my face. She had to tell you, I'm from Jersey. Don't play with me. But anyway, so she said that Madonna called Madonna because I guess she got tired of Gaga trying to copy off of what it was that she was doing, be it her looks or express herself, sounding very much Born This Way sounding very much like Express Yourself. And then to make things worse, she decided to take her ass over there during the Joanne era. Because remember, when people started looking at Gaga as, okay, girl, like what else you got going on? Because the antics is outperforming your talent. Like, yes, we know Gaga could sing down. Gaga is definitely a good songwriter. She's got a good ear for pop music, especially working under Red One, who gave her some of her biggest hits of her career. And then when the antics started to overshadow the talent, I want to go over here and I want to do jazz records with Tony Bennett to show my versatility. And I'm glad she did it because it definitely, vocally, she sounds amazing when she does jazz. I love when she does the jazz stuff. Or when she comes up and does, she's very talented. I'm not going to take that from her. And then she tried to go a little rock girl-esque, even though Slater's doing it way better than her. With the Joanne era. And it's like, girl, what is this? that Joanne album was a mess. But anyway, so back in 2017, she went over there, she was promoting Joanne, and she sat down with Zane Lowe for Apple Music. And if I have to cut this out, I'll just have to cut it out. But hopefully we don't get flagged. She said the following. Hold on. As I pull this clip up. Trying to throw shade at the queen.
You know what I mean?
Madonna and I are very.
All right, girl. This is me then or now. Okay, Jennifer. She told my, this is me. Girl, you was full of shit in that clip. And my thing is this. You have every right to feel how you want to feel, especially when you sitting there trying to say that, okay, so yes, I am me. I'm not, I'm tired of people comparing me to other artists. But it's hard to do that where it's like, yeah, you're your own individual person, sis, when you've been notorious for copying off of people. Like, what is this? I always got to come with a receipt. There's a lot of looks and things. I mean, we don't care about Roisin Murphy, but you was taking some of her looks too. When it came to Curly, you was taking some of her looks too. Curly called you out. They was dragging her over that. And yeah, there was a lot of similarities in Madonna's looks. You was doing it and adding your little spin on it. And it was like, yes, you were doing a lot of that. And for you to sit up here and try to act like, well, I write my own songs and I produce. You made it sound like Madonna was like Britney, like she's a fucking puppet. Like she just goes in the studio, give me whoever got songs just laying around, okay, give me them. I'm gonna go in the studio, I'm gonna sing these songs, I'm gonna pretend I wrote them, and that's that. Everybody knows how those who follow Madonna and understand her work ethic, even though she don't like talking about it, we are all aware of her work ethic in the studio. Many of people have talked about it, including the late William Orbit, who, in my opinion, I think he was the best producer to ever produce her vocals because she always sounds amazing on his stuff. All this other stuff now, her vocals sound overly filtered, but I love the way that William Orbit produced her vocals because she just sounds amazing on all of his stuff. But for you to sit up here and try to act like she's not a producer, she's not very hands-on in the studio. She doesn't write her own stuff. She doesn't play instruments. First of all, when she was in the Breakfast Club, she played drums. If you ever watched her on any of her tours, starting around the Drowned World tour, even though that was like she was in her infant stage of learning, she played the guitar. Monty Pittman, who toured with her back from the Drowned World tour, was her guitar teacher. So for you to sit up here and try to act like she don't play instruments, she doesn't write things, she doesn't walk around every time we see her, when we know she go into the studio, when she got them stack of books that she writes, literally handwrites her lyrics or writes things in a book and takes that with her, and that's her inspiration. So for you to sit up here and do all of that, that's what kind of pissed me off about her. And yes, like I said many a times, Gaga is talented, but for her to sit up in here and try to act like that Madonna is just some manufactured puppet, she's a nice lady. Who the fuck says that? It was just giving disrespect. And you know what? Zayn ass kissing ass sitting up there, just going along with it. He irritated me with that shit too. You have a right to, oh yeah, and that's probably why Madonna won't take her ass to your tired ass show. But anyway, so and I see when I say something like that, I don't want to come across like y'all thinking like I can't criticize people or that I'm just being a stan, because I'm about to read Madonna for what she said about Whitney. I don't like you sitting there calling her horribly mediocre. One thing about Whitney is not horribly mediocre. I do wonder what it was that caused her to say that, but we all know Madonna was just a snooty, nasty, see you next Tuesday back in the day. She was a brat that you wanted to strangle. And so I could see why Courtney threw that damn compact at her ass back in the day during the Bedtime Stories era when she was at the MTV VMAs. That was a good one too. I remember where I was when I saw it. That was iconic. But anyway, and then she called Janet. Well, she dismissed Janet and Mariah Carey in 1996, claiming they can't do what I do. Well, Mariah was never that girl that was going to get up there and start doing crazy choreography and flying in the air. Mariah quiet as kept barely like standing still and singing. So, and then Janet, we already know, well, Janet definitely at her age is still moving. She's 60 years old, still up there moving. I just wish Janet would come up with some new ideas for her shows and stop giving people the same damn show for the past 30 years. Because she don't never change what she does when that's, you already know what you're getting when you go into a Janet show. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we all know what you're going to get. The same old choreography, the same old routine, the same old medleys of the same old songs. Her sharp tongue was already apparent in 1989 when she was shown LaToya Jackson's Playboy pictures during an interview. She said, "This is desperation. Maybe she will get a job out of it." Well, girl, remember once upon a time, well, I was going to say, remember your pictures ended up in Hustler? But then again, those are nudes that she had taken before she was famous. And they ended up in one of those magazines. Madonna's also taken a swipe at Gen Z stars, including Charlie XCX, where she declared in a new song that the dance floor was dead. And Madonna said, "If your dance floor feels dead, maybe you just ain't you. Maybe you're just playing the wrong music." And look, what that was, Charlie was being her usual British cheeky self. And maybe she was saying for her, because look, at one point I did kind of go off on her too, like, girl, what are you talking about? I bought into the mess too. But then once I relaxed and I calmed down, I realized, I was like, okay, it's just Charlie being cheeky. But look, a lot of times you can't catch cheekiness when you're reading. you have to catch it when, like, based off of if I'm interacting with somebody or if I'm watching something and you catch the tone. That's how you get it. I wasn't going to be able to get what Charlie XBX was saying from reading an article. I thought she was throwing shade because, you know, how some people, it's like, oh, and because I think maybe as someone who is a house head, people are quick to come jump in this whole electronic music situation or jump into certain genres. And when they have no use for the thing anymore, then they abandon it and they run on to the next big popular thing. And it just felt, oh, here y'all go colonizing one thing. And then when you're done with it, you want to move on. When it's just, it was her way of trying to move on from the whole thing that was Brat and wanting to evolve into the next era, which is this music, fashion, film era that she's in. Her frosty attitude toward other stars also put her at odds with Cher, who once branded Madonna mean, adding, "There's something about her that I don't like." But Kylie is one of the select few stars who Madonna has openly championed, and they have been fans of each other for years. At the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards in Stockholm, Her Majesty strutted onto the stage in a black sleeveless t-shirt with the words Kylie Minogue written in gold letters across her chest, which is this picture. We'll just go back to that. And where am I? Okay. And then she recalled, "It was my Western mode, rhinestone and everything, and I was trying to think of singers that I'm slightly in love with. And so naturally, I thought of Kylie and had a t-shirt made." Kylie later admitted she was stunned by the gesture in solidarity, saying, "There was no warning. I didn't know what I did. Probably just stopped shy of fainting. It was amazing." I think this is what she said recently when they were talking to Graham Norton. The same year, she said on Australian TV, "Kylie, I love her. I'm a big fan of hers." I think probably because, like I said, they're similar. They're both young women who had to fight their way into the music industry. Madonna is a self-made pop star. She didn't have any nepotism behind her. She was somebody who moved from Detroit to New York and by hook or by crook was going to make it as an artist. Kylie Minogue was somebody who came from the world of soaps, who stumbled into music, and people looked at her as a singing budgie, and they weren't taking her seriously because it was like, yeah, the soap thing went off to the music with Stock Aitken Waterman, and she had to fight her way to prove that she was an actual artist and not just a puppet for these men, these older men who was writing a lot of her music. Which, yeah, at first, when you just happen to get your foot in the door, you're going to continue to go and work with the same people over and over and over and over and over again until you get to the point of like, okay, now I'm ready to spread my wings. I'm ready to do things. And I think people gave her respect during her Impossible Princess era, which, yes, it flopped, but she gets an A for getting with Michael Hutchins, who inspired her to get with Nick Cave and work with a lot of these underground artists and kind of do her indie Kylie situation. But the thing was, it was like, it was cute or whatever, but girl, that wasn't you. You're the pop girl. So give the kids what they want. And I love the fact that her foundation, since then, her foundation's always been pop, but pop allows you to experiment. And she was able to experiment with her sounds. When you listen to Light Years, when you listen to Fever, when you listen to X, when you listen to so many of her other albums from the Aphrodite, she was experimenting with a lot of those records. So yeah, and then so I guess that's all we got on this whole situation. But I love because it definitely feels authentic. But then I was given this clip before we get up out of here from Robert. I haven't watched it, so I don't know what he said about Madonna. But there's this show. Damn, I can't remember the name of it. But there's this podcast that I've been watching because, and the only reason why I've been watching it, is because of Nina Parker is his co-host. I was trying to see if I had it in here because I don't necessarily remember the name of the show. But anyway, so she's the co-host on the show with this gay guy. Can't remember his name. They just had Joel Kim Booster on the show. First of all, I love me some Joel Kim. That's a good looking Asian boy. I mean, I shouldn't say it like that because it's like trying to say Asian boys are not attractive, but you know, he's a man. If you cute, you cute. I don't care which your ethnicity. But anyway, they recently had him on the show and he was talking about a bunch of other stuff. But anyway, so here they are talking about Tanta. So I'm tired of rambling because I'm like, let me just get to the point, yeah. We're gonna play this clip if I can pull it up. And then we are going to come back and we gonna talk. Please hold. Wait, it's not even
her. I feel like
let's go back.
People
Because it was
resort
muted.
about Madonna every time it's time to celebrate her. I feel like people resort to the same bromides about why we're supposed to respect her, and I find them all so trite. When people say she reinvented herself to stay relevant, the amount of men who have been famous over 50 years and not have changed a damn thing about themselves. I'm sorry, I say this as a fan. Jack Nicholson is always Jack Nicholson. Bruce Springsteen is always Bruce Springsteen.
Preach.
AC/DC is still dressed the same way they were in 1980 or whatever. The idea that she had to like trick you, turn into like be a chameleon in order to be interesting. She is so recognizable from album to album. The same nerve, the same self-confidence, the same self-assurance, the same, actually, don't tell me what the fuck to do. I know what I'm doing.
That's always been consistent.
Yes. So the idea that, you know, she dyed her hair brown one time and then that fooled the eye and fooled us into believing she should be relevant for another years.
Mariah Carey gets a lot of flack for that, right? Like kind of not evolving outside of like her the butterfly era. Like she still kind of loves the butterflies and wears her hair the same and the same kind of shoes. And she gets highly criticized for that all the time. So if she came out with a whole new look, then they would criticize the fact that she's trying to be young and cool.
Yes. You know what? I'm going to add that she's trying to be young and cool by staying relevant. You mean she's trying to have a job?
Okay, so before I forget, is Louis Vertel is his name. And the name of the podcast is called Gape It. So it was like, yeah, I definitely watched it. It's him and Nina Parker. Ever since, well, I never watched the show before, but when Nina Parker, because I love me some Nina Parker. The minute he added her to the show, I was like, okay, I'm definitely into this show right now. They talk about a lot of really good pop culture type stuff. And he had, I think they talked about Hayden Panettiere in one of the episodes. They talked about Perez Hilton. They talk about a lot of the hot button topics, and they really get deep with a lot of the stuff. And so I love, you know, a big black woman and a homosexual up there just kikiing. And that's what you're going to get with them. So yeah, with all that being said, I want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of all of this that I said about Tanta and Kylie Minogue and the fact that that article was bringing up some of the issues Madonna had with girls in the past, but I do wonder why she said, because I look all the time, I wasn't trying to do all the research on what was it that why she said what she said about Janet and Madonna and all these other girls. And then at one point, let's also, which y'all failed to bring in the conversation, Madonna even defended Janet at one point when the whole Tittygate thing happened. She came to Janet's defense. So yeah, y'all can bring that up to feed your little narrative. Tabloid, but at the same time, it wasn't always just being nasty and negative towards Janet. So let me know what you guys think of this story. And I was like, yeah, I did not tell you. I said I knew this story was going to get a lot of comments because all the other ones I wasn't responding to. But yeah, the Madonna and Kylie one got a lot of comments. So leave more in the comments down below. Anyway, the Lifetime didn't do her favors. I think that's what hurt her. The 3-paragraph essay I wrote was under your Facebook post about Gaga and her biomedical technology gig. I'm not exaggerating when I say I don't know how Facebook works. Messenger is aggravating. Wait, hold on. Let me see if... Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I said just leave something in the comments. I don't know. Facebook, yeah, it's been weird. I was like, I didn't even know there was comments up in there. Let me see if I can find it, honey. I can find her. Find her. Oh, speaking of which, I guess congratulations to Jennifer Lopez for celebrating 1 billion streams for On the Floor. I will say that is a good song, so I'm not even gonna hold her on that. Not canceled. That's what Robert wrote, canceled. Oh yeah, so there was this story. Hold on, let me pull it up. So this is what Onyx is referring to. where they were basically saying that, wait, why is this? Yeah, it says no comments. What it said, Gaga's new AI biotechnology firm with Michael Polanski, Outer Bio, is receiving backlash from fans of being funneled by Israeli-linked Lightspeed Ventures. And then it says right here, Outer Biosciences has raised a total of approximately 8 million in funding across rounds, including a Series A. Their key investors include venture capital firms and angel groups such as Lightspeed, Wing, Sozo Ventures, Brighter Capital, Liquid 2 Ventures, Com Ventures, Gangles, and Hogtail. And it's in Lightspeed Israel. The Lightspeed team has invested in Israeli companies for over 20 years with exits such as Solar Edge, Extreme LO, Provigen, Fine Glass, and a bunch of other stuff. So they said Israel is a Tel Aviv-based venture capital team that invests in seed, early, and growth stage enterprise, consumer, fintech, and health tech companies. Established in 2006, the office is part of the global Lightspeed venture, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But I was like, what the people saying? Oh, so Robertson canceled. Austin Arseniega says she's been getting on my last nerve, and I'm a little monster. I don't know what's happening with her. Oh, let me hit that light. Another person says, so disappointed in her. I met her when she was just starting her career. She has been corrupted like most of the industry. Sad. And Zion, who is Onyx, said, I took a biomedical tech class in high school during my futile pursuit in nursing and can confirm AI being used in place for animal testing is far more ethical than risking the health and or life of an innocent critter. Not an innocent critter. Gaga will get up on a Grammy stage and call for the support of trans people and women in the music industry, but never say anything about the act of genocide happening. Well, because you know who her father is and what he's aligned with. Very weird for someone who built an entire brand on leftist ideals during peak Obama optimism, only to abandon it during Trump's first and second administration. But make sure those paws are up where she can see them. Well, yeah, because she be asking her to put y'all goddamn paws up every damn 30 seconds. That shit was getting on my damn nerves. Now, is AI attributable to her decrease in human intelligence? Is AI replacing the hard work of artists, researchers, and coders? Is AI being shoved in our face by capital-hungry billionaires? Is there an AI overview? Well, yeah, hello, all of it is absolutely yes. Is there an AI overview in the second picture? Is your profile picture AI generated? It's all AI, god damn it. So, and she doing these old duck lips. Like, girl, gone. So there you have it. Anyway, let's get to the rest of the comments. I think the only current stars that Madonna will work with is Charlie XCX because a lot of people, Angels said music, fashion, films, screams American life with the rock technical vibes, Kesha, Slater, Rihanna. Said the Sabrina collab was so random and both of them quietly abandoned it. Madge wanted a younger act in the mix and Sabrina wants approval from industry legends. The song itself kind of became a chop. Yeah, because I don't even, Bring Your Love when I hear it, it's just like a fart in the wind. It's like, okay, whatever. But that's why I said, like, to me, Madonna and Kylie collaborating together feels more authentic. Now, what I'm hoping happens, because I know a lot of the fans wanted um an actual collaboration, not a remix. It just felt like Madonna was like, you know what? I'm gonna just yeah, I know y'all want a collaboration between us two. Y'all just gonna have to settle for a remix. What I'm hoping is that maybe down the line, when Kylie works on her new album, and you know she's coming out with a new album, probably in 2027, that Kylie will hit up Madonna and ask her for a favor. Okay, I did you a solid. Now, can you come over here and do a song with me? But it's not going to be a remix. It's going to be an actual song, which I think would be smarter because it'll really blow Kylie up. I mean, Kylie's already a big iconic star. She finally got her Just Do coming to America and doing a arena show, which I always tell people arenas are so much better than stadiums because you're at the mercy of the weather. I would rather be in an arena and do multiple nights than have to be like, fuck, I got to cancel because of the rain. Well, that's a lot of money you end up losing. young people don't like Madonna because they feel her attacks on Lady Gaga was bullying. It wasn't. But, you know, you only feel like it's bullying when you're when you try to act, when you just play the victim all your life, in the words of Wednesday Addams. Remember she said that in Addams Family? The success of Mariah Carey is due to the dumbing of America. Thank God European audiences shut her out. Ooh, I like Mariah. He said, I play multiple instruments. I'm a producer. I'm a writer. I'm not afraid of my flaws. It was like, girl, please. You couldn't even say that shit with a straight face. Well, that's what Grace Jones said when she met her. Joanne had Gaga dressing like a cowgirl. Did she not think people her age or older wasn't gonna say that Madonna, because the music era imagery is so iconic because it was cool? It was the Bodyguard soundtrack, Block of Bedtime Stories era, because everybody was on that Bodyguard soundtrack. Bodyguard soundtrack was lit. I even ran that CD into the ground. Before I say this, I'm going to remind everyone that I wasn't there because it seems to be an issue for Madonna's older fans. Madonna seemed jealous of Nippy, Janet, and Mariah in 1993, and I stand on that. He said, I wasn't there, but I'm going to stand on this. She wanted to go number one because of that damn Bodyguard soundtrack. She wasn't the main girl on top anymore in the 90s, and she had trouble accepting that. Wait, but you said, are you speaking for all young people? Lady Gaga did omit to be, Madonna did inspire her. I'm glad I wasn't born with all this fandom rivalry. I think I blame the internet for all this goddamn fandom rivalry, because before that, I don't even think we were thinking in that way. Like, we all liked what we liked. Well, maybe what it was because we didn't have a place to put all this energy and put up all these rivalries. But now with the internet, it's like, y'all can't like multiple people. I can't like, well, I'm just using it as an example. I can't like Nicki Minaj and Lil Kim. I can't like Meg Thee Stallion and Doja Cat. I can't like Beyonce and Rihanna. You like what you like. But I do agree that I do believe in the beginning, Lady Gaga has said that Madonna inspired her in a lot of ways. And if artists inspire you, there's nothing wrong with inspiration. But I just think that what got in the way of it is just the media, the fandom, the reporters. When all of that stuff comes in, that's why I was like, I love the way Kylie handled it, because if y'all see old videos, I remember there was a whole montage they showed. It wasn't in this recent Netflix thing, but I think it was just like in a regular interview thing that I was watching. I don't remember what it was, because a lot of times I watch these deep dive YouTube videos that they make. And they were just doing this whole montage of like how many times people asked Kylie about Madonna, and she never went in the way that Gaga went. What Gaga said to Zane Lowe felt like shade, or you were fed up and you were lashing out, and you felt like you was in the say what you said, but you seem to forget. Things get around, and people will take your clip, and then it's going to start up some stuff with the fandom. So I definitely feel like that's what a lot of that was, and it's just unfortunate. But what you said, I believe when Grace Jones said she didn't know who she was, seemed to make her think I believe. Quiet as it's kept, Charlie's album came and went and did, because no shade. Music, fashion, film is it was a cute record, but it's not something that I have constantly on repeat. Y'all already know I'm still out here listening to Slater. That's my go-to girl. And I don't want to say go-to girl because it makes it sound like I'm jumping on a trend or whatever. But y'all know I've been listening to Slater since Trouble Paradise. But this album just has me in a chokehold. Why does this kept? Charlie's album came and went, but Confessions 2 is still being discussed on on Reddit pop heads. Good luck booking that stage, you okay. Because I remember that read from Sierra. Well, it was to Sierra from Rihanna. I remember that was funny. I was like, I love an old reference. Check. Madonna released a book of nudes, and Janet issued her first album expressing her sexuality. Remember the comment? Well, look, it was good that she did that because, growing up Jehovah's Witness, you wouldn't think any of them people was out there fornicating. And you said, me and Madonna do dance music, but what I do has class. Oh, so that's what it was. Where it stemmed from? Where it was like Janet talking about what she does is classic. Ma'am, you was grabbing dicks during the If choreography. You something there, you posed with your titties out, and your husband at the time covering them on the cover of Rolling Stone. So if we're gonna sit up here and talk about class, that ain't classy based. I mean, it was a good photo, and I was living because I'm like, express your sexuality. Why not? We're all grown. Man, at the time I wasn't because it was 90. When was that album cover come out? 93. I was a kid, but um. express yourself how you want to express yourself. As Madonna says, express yourself. Don't repress yourself. Repression is not good on the body. Child, you don't want to be 30-some years old having a damn heart attack because you were repressing everything. However, I am 55. Oh, happy birthday. Well, early birthday. That'd be like 2.5, 3 months away. 56. I got all the generations up in here. Child, I'm nowhere near 50, but you will never see Madonna simulating sex with men on stage like Janet was known for. No, she was just simulating sex on herself. Remember when she was humping that bed during Like a Virgin? Or making out with women? Well, yeah, 1993 definitely was a year. I barely remember it, but 1993 definitely was a year where it was like we had a lot of good music that came out around that time. A lot of people point fingers at her husband. Oh, you talking about Michael Polanski? Oh, you talking about that's married? All of this old drama should be left in the past, in my opinion. I don't remember seeing Janet doing. I do agree. I think that people should just leave all this drama and stuff alone. I guess it's good grist for the mill, but look at the end of the day, while these fans out here fighting, Madonna's out here getting rich. Gaga's out here getting rich. Janet's out here getting rich, giving y'all the same damn choreography for the past 30 years. All these girls that y'all sitting there getting mad over, they still out here getting rich, and we over here just getting, you know, trying to keep our veins from popping out of our head, doing stupid ass discourses on social media. So basically, people who can't go a day without opening Facebook, Twitter, or Reddit are the reason why Madonna versus Gaga and Madonna versus Janet is still going on, even after the former took a pic together. People still, at the end of the day, on social media will keep drama going, even if it's been put to bed. People will always still trying to find a way to troll. People will always trying to find a way to keep a rivalry going, even when we done moved on from the situation. Yes, we are. We're over here feeding the pockets of non-figure millionaires. And then again, also, those of us in social media that works in these spaces, we benefit from it too, because I can monetize this and make a coin off of it. So yeah, we at the end of the day, we all a squirrel trying to get a nut, right? And we know these type of topics is what get everybody going, which is why people talk about them. But anyway, let's get back into the show. And let's talk about Benito. So Bad Bunny finally wrapped up his tour. He was in Puerto Rico for the past tour because it was like a 2-night wrap up of the whole of his show in Puerto Rico. And he addressed the big water crisis and stuff that's going on out there. And the fact that you have the oligarchs that's running around there. Well, you got people, they're trying to literally by little sell off parts of Puerto Rico to the billionaires. They're trying to push out the regular people that were born and raised there. So that way they can usher these other people in and they can make money. When I believe that what do they call it? Their president or whatever, she's a Trump supporter. She's been up there licking the crack of Trump's shitty ass. So Bad Bunny is a thorn in a lot of these corrupt politicians' side. And he's been speaking out. And I've heard some people say, well, he's got $100 million. Why isn't he donating water? Bad Bunny has done a lot for Puerto Rico. Why the fuck is it he's got to be the only one that's got to stand up and offer to his people? The people got to get up and start fighting for their stuff as well. And not just be like, oh, well, the world is corrupt. So it's inevitable. We're just gonna accept it. Which y'all probably need. Y'all need a Puerto Rican Mamdani out there. That's what y'all need. y'all need a Puerto Rican Mamdani. Some shit'll get done. Now, but Bad Bunny is using the biggest stage in Puerto Rico to call attention to what is happening on the island. Billionaires are trying to steal the land. You already got was it Jake Paul bought land out there? There's a scarcity of water, but I guarantee if you go to his house, his water ain't got no problems. Puerto Rican singer Bad Bunny has reportedly addressed the water crisis that the nation has been facing since the beginning of this month. The rapper encountered online criticism after his Cerramos en Casa concert speech on the island last weekend. Oh, it was last week. I thought it was over the weekend. The musician revealed that the residents are living in a mandatory 48-hour rotating water shutoff due to ongoing drought. Earlier this month, the BBC reported that hundreds and thousands of Puerto Rican residents were living without water supply for 2 days, while officials in the U.S. territory enforced strict measures to fight against the severe drought. The nation's water authority reported that about 65% of the water it produces is either lost or not billed because the problems are caused by leaks in old pipes, which y'all should be using that money to rebuild Puerto Rico, especially when they were having like the big hurricanes and the bad storms and all this stuff. Why hasn't money gone into rebuilding the resources out there? Y'all got a lot of old stuff. It's kind of similar. It's similar to America. Like, how is it that when you go to China and so many other places, they are eons ahead of us in regards of like tech, infrastructure, that sort of thing. In America, like if you, I haven't been to like China or any other or Japan or wherever and other places around the world, but I've heard stories when people say, "Oh, their subway systems are light years ahead of us in regards of tech or whatever the case is." We get horrible fucking. Like, you come to New York and our subways, it's too goddamn hot down there, especially in the summertime. It's like literally a sauna. I'll be standing there and I literally feel like I'm about to melt. Thank God I walk around with this big ass. Look, I get made fun of this when I go to the garden. But this big ass water bottle, they always talk about it. Like, you drink all that water and do. I drink it when I go to the gym. I said between the gym and work, of course I walk around with this bottle. So doing that and then going to going in the subways, and it's so hot down there. But now Mamdani said that he's come up with this idea that he wants to repurpose the heat that's down there, and I guess move it into like office buildings. I don't know how they're gonna do that, but that's science. They got to figure all that out. But they do need to make the subway systems cooler in New York because it's like a fucking oven down there. It's like you think it's 100 degrees outside, it'd be 130 when you go down in them subways. So I'll be sitting there all hot and drenched. Luckily, I walk around with a towel and all this other stuff. So I'm always prepared if I'm walking around. So I don't be like looking like I'm literally melting in front of people. So um there's that, but our subway systems is a mess. They're always repairing the tracks, but I think they be doing cheap jobs, so they don't really want to invest in our infrastructure. These politicians don't really be caring about our country or wanting to make things better. And it's embarrassing when you go to, but it's about America's the best city in the world, or America's the best city, America's the best country in the world, and then you go to other places, and yeah, maybe their policies or political whatever is not all that great. But when you go to their cities, they ain't got to worry about potholes. They don't got to worry about garbage all over the streets and you feeding the rats, even though that's been cleaned up in New York too. We got these giant bins that they put on the street now where y'all can dump the garbage in there, which is smart, instead of having a whole block of trash sitting outside where the rats could be like, oh, look, free dinner. So the singer also revealed the reason for his presence at the concert and urged the people of Puerto Rico to remain strong while enduring the difficult situation. So he said, I can't bring water to those who don't have water. I can't bring electricity to people whose power goes out every day. The musician added that his objective during the concert was to give the audience some joy. He wanted to give them the strength to remain proud of their Puerto Rican heritage and address the water crisis issue by instilling the hope and strength needed to continue their fight and defend their land. So we went and said, what I want to give you today is hope and strength to fight and continue to defend this land. He framed the message to link cultural pride to resilience and turn the concert into more than entertainment. The Cerramos en Casa concert became a call for unity and perseverance amid a national disaster. And here's the thing, what I liked about it is like, yeah, he gonna talk about the show, I mean, he's gonna inspire you, but also he's gonna give you a performance. And if Bad Bunny can use his platform to inspire his people and to get them to get out there and protest, to remember that, you know what, y'all were born here. This is your land. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, or I should say, so the Puerto Rican island. So look, the land is made for you and me, not these goddamn oligarchs, not these rich ass people that's coming from other countries or other parts of the United States where they just want to go to Puerto Rico and they want to turn this into a resort for the rich, while all the poor people are out here suffering and seeing their culture being diminished based off of corporate greed. And it's happening all over the world. I heard it's happening in Colombia. It's happening in a bunch of places. So the people, y'all got to get up and realize that y'all are mightier and more powerful than these rich folks. Strength in numbers. And if Bad Bunny is going to be that voice that's going to ignite y'all, put that battery in your back to want to fight for fight for your country and fight for your people, then do that. And shout out to him for actually being a voice for the voiceless, which I've always thought. That was always the thing I admired about certain artists. That's not, oh, I'm just going to put my head down and just sing the hits and just go away. Like, I literally am going to use my voice to uplift the people. I don't want to be here to just sing my songs and cash my checks and take advantage of my fans and just be rich like Jay-Z and Beyonce like to do. I want to actually come out here and inspire the culture. I want to inspire my people because I care genuinely about my people. And I genuinely feel that from Bad Bunny. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Bad Bunny putting, using the biggest stage in Puerto Rico to call attention to what is happening on the island, and with billionaires trying to basically steal their land. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. I believe it's all about Queen. I wonder why younger fans care about stuff that happened decades ago that they may not have been alive for. Probably living vicariously. But yeah, I was like, I don't know. I was just thinking because when I was younger, when I was introduced to things that was before my time, I was always genuinely curious and all that stuff. So that could be it. You said Kayla says put out a new video today about a new artist experiencing cyberbullying over her appearance. In Kayla's video, she approves of the idea of a pop star that isn't cunty or for the gays. I did see something that she was. I was like, who? And I just moved on. It's probably some girl I never heard of, but you did say a new artist. So, you said she approves the idea of a pop star that isn't cunty or for the gays. Hey, well, who said that every pop star that comes out has to be for the gay community? But let's be clear. Who is it that supports a lot of these pop stars? It ain't straight women. It isn't straight men. Because at a certain point, y'all get married, y'all have kids, and y'all move on. But at the end of the day, when these artists want to continue to keep that cachet coming, it's the homosexuals that continue to support these pop stars. So let's be clear, Miss Kayla. You said, did you see the water main breaks in West Hollywood too? Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I heard about that. The whole water main break situation. I forgot what had transpired with that. I think it was old pipes. Yeah, one of my friends who lives out in LA was talking about it, and it was talking about that if you lived down the hill, you was affected. But if you lived up, because there's a lot of hills in LA. I told you I lived out there for a year. Then I moved back because I was just over it, the pretentiousness of it all. But if you lived up the hill, you was lucky. If you lived down the hill, you was screwed. Especially if your cars was down there at the bottom, or you was in those garages or whatever. It was just a mess. Because I remember one of my friends told me that one of his friends, their car got destroyed because of that water main break. America infrastructure is garbage. It's not Trump. The infrastructure was I'm not necessarily going to blame that on Trump. Infrastructure Now, we could blame him on a lot of things, but the infrastructure of the United States is not one of them. I mean, you would think that he would try to do something to improve the stuff, but when you're in bed with a bunch of damn rich people who's just continuing to fatten up your pockets and that's all you care about versus really helping people, I don't expect less from him. But our infrastructure has been trashed for a long time. And also throws a hint of shade towards Madonna and every pop star that's inspired by her. You'll love the video. Audrey Hobart is far better musician than Sabrina, Chapel, Gracie, Tate, etc. Now that I got full context, Hassan is right. American Jewish people being loyal to Israel is exactly making American Jews in danger. Once again, the king is right. Well, look, we're not equating all Jews as being the same. We're talking about when it comes to it, if you're a Zionist, if you're someone who staunchly believes that a group of people should be treated the same way that Germans in the Holocaust treated Jews, you're no different than the Nazis. It's like you're literally committing the same thing that was done to your ancestors to these people. Why are you typing with one hand? Are they throwing shade or is it the people behind them? Chapel is a lesbian that has no lesbian fans. Maybe a few, but not a lot. Well, because she's not like, what's her name? The Carlisle chick? Brandy Carlisle. Now, Brandy Carlisle is a lesbian who got a lot of lesbian fans and a lot of male fans too. But because she looks like a lesbian that be up there doing that live instrumentation music with a band and stuff, you get a certain audience with that. So, but Chaperone does like pop music, dresses up like a little drag queen. So yeah, the gays are gonna favor that. But she really gonna have to prove herself with this next album. All right, y'all. So now let's get back into the show. Oh, excuse me. And let's talk about Patti LaBelle. So Patti LaBelle's nephew has revealed, I don't know, child, he a mess. But anyway, so Patti LaBelle's nephew came out of the closet, literally and figuratively, and I believe she adopted him, and revealed that his aunt basically disowned him and forced him to move out the house because of his association with Donald Trump. Now, being that Patti LaBelle's a woman of a certain age and a black woman, I'm not surprised that this is the reaction that she would pretty much go with. So Patti LaBelle's 65-year-old nephew and adopted son, William Byle or Bill, I think it's BYL, that's how you spell his name, Bill Holt, says a years-long family dispute over his political views ultimately ended with him being cut out of the singer's life. In a series of social media posts, Holt claimed that LaBelle kicked him out of her home where he was living rent-free. Child, if you're not special needs, there's be no reason why you living rent-free in your aunt's house. After a 2019 confrontation, and that estrangement has since become what he described as a lifetime banishment. According to the Griot, Holt said that the breaking point came around Christmas 2019, shortly after LaBelle told him he needed to leave the home they had shared for 12 years. According to Holt, an argument erupted while relatives were discussing politics and his support for Donald Trump. He claimed that his response to the conversation angered family members and led to him being thrown out. Well, here's the thing, child. They tell you that the one thing you don't discuss during family gatherings is politics and religion. You clearly didn't get that damn memo. So, with you getting up there and you being, this is what I don't understand. How you black and a man supporting Trump, who don't even like black people? And you're not even on the tax bracket where he would even acknowledge you ain't rich. You mooching off your damn aunt. So what is it about Trump that made you want to gravitate towards support? So there was this long ass tweet that and I guess he pays for he got the blue check mark, so he gets to write the long Twitter. He said, a cousin sent me this screenshot of my Patti LaBelle post jumping on to Instagram with the note, "You in trouble now, me, why, her, You shouldn't put your family on blast like that. Me, they're not speaking to me. So as far as I'm concerned, they decided I'm not their family. So I can say whatever I want. Her, why would they talk to you when you might repeat what they say on your platform, which is literally what he's doing right now. Me, I only do that to people who wrong me or tell me to go fuck myself. I fuck back. Oh no, I want you fucking me. I'm like, fuck you, motherfucker. Her, how you gonna be MAGA but depending on a Democrat to support you? How does that work? That's Patti talking. Me, one, I'm not dependent on her to support me. What she does because she wants to. Two, she doesn't pay me enough to buy my vote for a party that I absolutely despise. Three, if she has a problem with me, she should talk to me, not silence me. Who said she was silencing you? So yeah, then there's a screenshot of the neighborhood talk that was like, Patti LaBelle nephew says supporting Trump cost him his relationship with his aunt, claims he was kicked out of the home after 12 years and has been cut off of cut from the circle and all that other stuff. So yeah, there's that. Wait, I was like, what was that? It was on a text or whatever I was getting. But anyway, I want to see if I could go over to the neighborhood. Oh, the neighborhood talk. Well, it's funny, the neighborhood told must have heard me talk because I was about to go over there and see if I could find the article, see what the people saying. But I came across this story. It said a son and a mother charged in the stabbing death of his 18-year-old girlfriend. Mother allegedly helped clean up after he killed her. Claims a demon took over. What's up with y'all always trying to blame shit on demons? I shouldn't laugh. I mean, I'm not laughing at that. I'm just laughing at the fact that y'all like using the devil as an excuse of why y'all do dumb shit. No, it's because, and look, now y'all could both be thrown under the damn jail where y'all belong. So anyway, so let me read the rest of because he posted another long article in regards to the whole situation. I don't know. The neighborhood talk posts so much crap. I might not even find um the article on which we are discussing. So anyway, there was another one that went on to say, here's what supporting Trump cost me. My aunt is Patti LaBelle, famous singer and Democrat. Who gives a fuck what her political affiliation is? But I guess it's funny we could say that because they're like, well, we could say what does that got to do with his political affiliation? The fact is that when we're talking about Donald Trump and any affiliation with him where he is ripping families apart, immigrant families due to ICE and ICE racking up everybody, when you're dealing with our food supply is being tampered with, where there's recalls on everything from bacon and now freaking beef, where they talking about they're gonna be putting horse meat in the beef, or they doing deals with Argentina over the beef. When you have all these different things that's going on where our lives and our health and everything is being affected because y'all literally are trying to dismantle our entire government and y'all want us all to die so y'all can go live in a in a dome or under in your little ballroom or whatever the case is. I just don't understand what is it about you that made you gravitate towards Donald Trump. Well, let me finish reading. Christmas 2019, she had just informed me that I had to move out of the home I had happily shared with her for 12 years. So when I heard her and my family talking about what a threat Trump was, I asked her, why should I be afraid of Trump when you're the one who just made me homeless? What the fuck? Trump got to do with you being homeless. She talking about the policies. Damn, he really, well, I see why he's a fan of Trump. Y'all both poorly educated. Her family instantly attacked me and threw me out of her house. And just last year, she had a problem with me talking about my life with her on this platform. My punishment for using my First Amendment right in this way was lifetime banishment. And as of today, she is still not speaking to me. And because she's not speaking to me, no one in her circle is speaking to me. Well, because Patti is Patti, and yeah, people gonna follow suit, be like, well, I ain't fucking with you because you don't align with what I believe. And people should be allowed to have their opinions or differences of opinion or political beliefs or whatever the case is. But what you have to realize is with all of that, especially your political leanings, when of course when you're dealing with MAGA and the far right and their extremities and how racist and xenophobic and transphobic and Islamophobic and all the phobics that they are and what they align with on an ideological level, You can't be surprised that people don't want to be a part of that. You're not the first, nor would you be the last family member that has lost members because of your extreme political beliefs. And you either just shit or get off the pot. So like I said, it's too many goddamn stuff. Yeah, they want to tell y'all a mess. Y'all just post so much crap in there. It's gonna be hard to find a damn thing. So we said, because no one violates and disrespects democracy and free speech more than Democrats. Now that's a goddamn lie. Like when you literally have somebody dismantling our entire government, defying court orders, that wasn't coming from Democrats. Like when it comes to lobbyists and taking corporate money and donations and things of that nature, yes, Republicans and Democrats, two wings on the same bird. They're very similar in that way. And now you got AIPAC Shakur with them fucked up teeth over here making little deals with Jared Kushner being bought off. We already see we already side on them on that. And how corrupt these goddamn corporate centrist Democrats are, because they don't want these progressives and stuff coming in. So at least if you're going to know about politics, you need to speak on politics. For you to sit up here and say that free speech is more disrespected by Democrats and Republicans, that's a goddamn lie. History shows you that it's not. That is not true. So he said he learned that lesson on Black Christmas. Well, Black Christmas is a horror movie. And unless you're talking about a bunch of black people he was in the house with on Christmas, then I understand. And even though I've gotten out of politics, they still hate me. But all that tells me is that I'm doing something right. Because I'd rather vote Republican because I want to than Democrat because I have to. God bless America. And so like my brain hurts literally trying to decipher this. Because it's like, you're only voting Republican just to be defiant. Oh, y'all not gonna tell me. And I've heard that this overall attitude from a lot of people. Oh, you're not gonna tell me what I can and cannot do. So that's why I'm gonna vote this way. I'm gonna vote against because you're telling me to vote this way. That's the reason to vote. What are you talking about? So to me, it just I don't know. Me trying to actually get inside people's head and understand why they do the things they do. I literally have a brain aneurysm before I even figure you hoes out. So yeah, I guess I ain't gonna be able to find it because I was literally up in here trying to find this story regarding like reading the comments over there on the neighborhood talk and see what the people were saying about Byron. Now look, at this point, I definitely feel like Republicans and Democrats, this whole sides, all of y'all need to be dismantled. We need to start over. That ain't gonna happen because there's just too much money in on both sides to try to dismantle and start over. But it's unfortunate. Chill. Yeah, I guess that's all I gotta say on that. So he's a fool. um Yeah, and I should also say, by the way, that LaBelle has not publicly responded to his allegations. She did address their political differences in a 2020 interview with Oprah Magazine, offering a considerably different picture of how she viewed their relationship. She said, I love Billy. He has a Republican mind. And guess what? I don't. But do I hate him for having that mind that he has? No, I can't. So he just walking around here just being angry. And she's like, I don't hate you. I just don't want to be around the damn foolishness. Your brain's been compromised. And until the time comes that you could actually break away from what it is that you learned, because I don't even know what got you in the place of you thinking the way that you think. But until you could actually break free of all of that foolishness, that's just the way it's going to have to be for now. So, she also indicated that there had already been conflict involving Holt and her name. She recalled him apologizing, and she said she had chosen to move forward rather than hold the situation against him permanently. She said, you give people chances. I decided to take the high road with him by letting him know that you make mistakes, but when my name comes into that mistake, that's a no-no. It just seemed like to me that he's a user, he's a moocher, and because your aunt is famous, you thought you could just, you know, live off of what it was that she was doing. And it's like, you got to come, you got to be your own person at some point. The family dispute surfaces during otherwise I'm strange for LaBelle, blah, blah, blah. I didn't realize that Patti is 82. I'm like, damn, time flies. So, yeah, I couldn't find the comments or whatever, but I definitely want to hear from y'all in regards to this story. What do y'all think of this story regarding Patti LaBelle and the nephew basically saying what he was saying about her? I was like, well, wait. I wouldn't even go and read some of the bullshit over on Twitter because you already know what, and this is where he posted all of this. He wrote this on Twitter because you already know the cesspool of morons that live over there or be on social media because of course he's getting positivity. So you already know what you're gonna get messing with them. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? Oh, they just said my schedule finally came out, so I gotta see how many damn days I got next month. Okay, so what do you guys think of this story regarding Patti LaBelle and the nephew and all that other stuff? I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I was like, you already know that politics definitely affects a lot of families. He said, I am disabled. I had a stroke when you was a baby. I had no idea that you had it that young. I didn't even know you could have a stroke as a baby. And he said, how do you know who Chapel fans are? Personally, I just think about the music, not anyone's love life, but I was born in 1970. Well, a lot of her fan base are, well, I can't necessarily, here's another thing. You got the gays and you got a couple of people, but they play HOTTOGO at a lot of the Knicks games and the Rangers games, and the kids be over there doing the choreography. So she's got a lot of people. It's not just the gays; it's a lot of kids and some girls. There be some women up in there doing it too. Oh, okay. You want to be a Trump supporter? Then pull yourself up. Okay, pull them up by them fake ass bootstraps they keep talking about, because they didn't even pull themselves up by the bootstrap. A lot of these people are opportunists or nepo babies. I saw a video today on YouTube about the horrible conditions of Walmart meat. Look, thank God I don't live in. I don't go to Walmart. He's a grown ass man. He better go find a job like everybody else. Hopefully, he got one instead of just spewing bullshit on Twitter. Tyrone, you are still living, just adjusting. I'm disabled, but from my cancer, I'm grateful. I'm 6 feet above ground. Shout out to all of y'all up in here that's just living and dipping it and doing it. I'm 57 years old. The stroke caused my intestines to burst. I have plastic ones from the 70s, removal of right kidney and removal of artery from leg to save the left. Jesus. All right, y'all. Let's see. Okay, chill. Let's get into this mess. Let's talk about Chris Brown. So, Chris Brown is currently on tour with Usher. And in case y'all forgot, he also had to deal with a court case where his housekeeper got mauled by one of his dogs. And when she got attacked, he decided to jump in instead of calling 911 and having them people come over and tend to her. He jumps in the car and drives off. So she won the case. I believe. Oh yeah, I was gonna say. I believe it says it in the thing. $13 million. She was nearly. They said $13 million. She's being rewarded, and now the judge has basically said that some of the money that he's pulling from his successful nationwide stadium tour, the housekeeper could take some of that coin. So Chris Brown's tour earnings can now be redirected to his former housekeeper as she works to collect nearly 13 million judgments stemming from a 2020 dog attack at his LA home. The latest ruling comes week after a jury ordered Brown to pay Maria Avila nearly 13 million, and just days after he and Usher expanded the R&B tour with 8 additional stadium dates. Oh yeah, because I heard like the show's doing really well. It's coming back. I think it's supposed to come back to MetLife in November. Y'all better hope it's not cold. I mean, technically it'll be fall, so I don't think it'll be that cold. So they said, An LA judge granted Avila's request to collect from Brown royalties and tour income, according to All Hip Hop. Brown had objected to the effort, arguing that her attempt to reach his present and future earnings was too broad, but the judge rejected the challenge. That doesn't make sense. The fact of the matter is, if you owe the lady $13 million, she got to get her money, unless you're going to dip into your money you currently have in the bank, however much that is, then you should have just wrote her a check and kept it pushing. So how you going to sit up here and say, that's too broad? How you going to take money that I'm working hard for in this tour that I got to pay all these people, and now you're going to take money that I'm working hard for? Well, you should have thought of that before you had this wild-ass dog roaming around your house, and you got somebody up in there cleaning without you making sure the dog was put up. If you knew that this dog was as wild as you said he was. Because he did say that when we talked about this before on the show, the dog was not, what do you call it? It was a wild animal. The dog wasn't, the dog just be going crazy. And I guess if you a stranger, the dog's going to attack. If you got that type of dog, you need to keep him somewhere where if you're going to have people constantly moving around and about, make sure this dog doesn't attack nobody, because you already know any little thing these people could sue you for. But clearly, Chris Brown will use his goddamn brain. So the ruling moves the case from the verdict stage to collection. Avila was awarded $12.9 million after jurors found Brown and his company, Black Pyramid LLC, liable for negligence over the December 2020 attack at his Tarzana property. Avila said she was taking out the trash when and you named the dog Hades. Like, come on, need we say more? Brown's 200-pound Caucasian Shepherd, and I showed y'all a picture of a Caucasian Shepherd. You thought Cujo was scary? That dog looks like a horse. So the Caucasian Shepherd attacked her. The assault left her with permanent facial scarring, nerve damage, and partial vision loss. Her sister, who witnessed the attack, was awarded $885,000 for emotional distress, while Avila's husband received $50,000. Brown testified that he had warned Avila about the dogs and maintained that Hades was a security animal. Well, if it was a security animal, you should have had a security guard walking around with the animal. He also argued that she should not have entered parts of the property without security present. The jury ultimately sided with Avila. So now it's just because it felt like you were victim blaming. Oh, so every time I'm around, I'm trying to clean, I'm trying to do what I gotta do. I gotta say, security, can you come walk me over here to this? Who got time to remember all that shit? Nobody has time to sit up here and remember. Security, can you walk me from point A to point B, because I gotta take out the garbage real quick. And I'm not gonna keep asking you every 2 seconds. Like, if you know that housekeepers are coming over to clean your house, put the fucking dog up until I'm done, and then you let little Hades run around and be the demon that he is. But when company is over, you put up the dog. I do that all the time when it comes down to certain things. If people's coming over to the house and they got to they got to check something or whatever the case is, I put the dogs in the room, because my dogs be, even though they train, they'll be knowing how to act when company come over. But that's when Xena was alive. And she's friendly, but she's like a bulldog Shar-Pei mix. When she was around, she's like a big dog and she drools and all this stuff. So she just be playful or whatever the case is. But yeah, but her being so big and heavy, I don't know how certain people feel about certain animals, whether you're allergic, you might be scared, or whatever the case is, to protect yourself from lawsuits. And I don't even have Chris Brown money. And even I knew to be smart enough that if you got situations going on, put the dogs up. But this is what happens when people who think that rules don't apply to them just do whatever and without consequence. The collection order places Chris Brown's tour earnings at the center of the dispute, while the singer remains on the road with Usher. Their co-headlining stadium run was recently extended to 59 dates through December, with additional shows in cities including Baltimore, Cincinnati, Atlanta, Indianapolis, and Miami. They're also doing Jersey again. They need to add that in there. But I guess because the tour was so popular and people are loving it, that they're like, we're just going to go out and do the tour again. Avila had previously told the court that Brown had made no effort to satisfy the judgment and sought access to income from his touring, royalties, and entertainment work. It remains unclear whether Brown will seek reconsideration or appeal the latest ruling. Well, what can he do? Because you could do that till the cows come home. It seems like the judge is on her side. And if you did what you did and you was guilty of what had happened, just pay the lady her damn money. But Chris Brown has shown y'all time and time again he has no regard for women. But you ladies all wouldn't be spreading y'all legs. Y'all love y'all some Chris Brown. Chris Brown. I was like, Now, if your ass get mauled by a dog, I don't want to hear shit. So now I say all this to say, what do y'all think of all of this? The latest of the whole Chris Brown situation. Where now it looks like that the housekeeper can get a piece of his touring pie. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Oh, damn, I want to go over up here. I know, Chris. I had the same with Bella. She passed this past April. She barked and was aggressive to anybody that came to the apartment. Exactly. It's like you got to lock up your door because you know how they get. Whenever somebody comes to the house, even if you train them, they don't be knowing how to act. They're like, who are you? And they be jumping all over the place. Like, you don't know how people gonna react to the dog. And so you just put the dog away. All right, y'all. So now we down to our final four topics. So before we get to our final four topics, if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe, smash the notification bell, do all the things to help this messy show get out there in this good old rhythm, aka the algorithm. Please and thank you. Now, without further ado, let's get into some music charting news. And I guess we could just give a huge congratulations to Katseye, who have their first #1 album on the Billboard 200. Now, with all the controversy that's been going around where members are dropping like flies, quiet as it's kept, I think their music is mid as hell. But it looks like the people are out here living for Katseye, and they've got the #1 album. So Katseye lands its first #1 album on the Billboard 200 as Wild debuts atop the list, dated August 29th. The set earned 170,000 equivalent album units in the United States in a week ending August 20th, according to Luminate. Wild marks the group's second top 10 charted effort following the November 4th peaking Beautiful Chaos in 2025. While it's the fourth #1 album by an all-woman group this decade, it follows Twice with You. It follows Twice's With Youth, which came out in 2025, New Jeans' second EP Get Up in 2023, and Blackpink's Born Pink in 2022. Before Born Pink, the last #1 album by an all-woman group was Danity Kane's Welcome to the Dollhouse in 2008. Wild also lands Katseye's biggest week in equivalent album units earned and by pure album sales, 145,000. Further, Wild tallies the largest week by units by an all-woman group since the Billboard 200 began ranking by units in December of 2014. Wild additionally has the largest pure album sales week for an all-woman group in more than 3 years since Twice's Ready to Be 12th mini album debuted with 146,000, which was in March 25th, 2023. Also in the top 10 of the latest Billboard 200, Phoebe Bridgers gets her first top 10 as Lost Weekend bows to #2, with both her biggest week ever by units and by pure album sales. The Billboard 200 chart ranks the most popular albums of the week in the US based on multi-metric consumption as measured in equivalent album units compiled by Luminate. Units comprise album sales, track equivalent albums, TEA, that's J, and streaming equivalent albums, SEA. Each unit equals 1 album sale or 10 individual tracks sold from an album or 2,500 ad-supported or 1,000 paid subscription/on-demand official audio and video streams generated by songs from an album. The new August 29, 2026 dated chart will be posted in full on Billboard's website on August 25th. For all chart news, you can follow Billboard and Billboard charts on both Twitter and Instagram. Now, of Wild's 170,000 first week equivalent album units, album sales comprise 145,000. It debuts at #1 on the top album sales chart. SEA units comprise 24,500, equaling 26.95 million on-demand official streams of the set songs. It debuts at #19 on top streaming albums, and TEA units comprise about 500. Wild's album sales are largely driven by its availability across more than 30 CD and vinyl variants, all containing collectible items such as photo cards, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So there's a lot of yabbity yap. But it says that Phoebe Bridgers collects her first top 10 charted set as Lost Weekend debuts at number 2. And it said traditional sales comprise 77,000, her largest sales week. It debuts at number 2 on top album sales. SCA units comprise 41,000, equaling 41.6 million on demand official streams of the set songs. It debuts at number 7 on top streaming albums, and TEA units comprise a negligible sum. First week album sales were bolstered by the set's availability across 16 physical editions, CD, vinyl, and cassette. Lost Weekend is Bridges' first solo album since 2020's Punisher. In the years since, she formed the supergroup Boy Genius. Oh, I know Boy Genius, with Julian Baker and Lucy Dacus. How'd I forget about her with Boy Genius? The trio released the record in 2023, which reached number 4 on Billboard 200. The numbers 3 to 9 titles of the latest Billboard 200 are all former number ones. Stray Kids, This and That falls 1 to 3 in its second week, earning 82,000 equivalent album units, down 78%. Olivia Rodrigo's You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl Someone Loved dips from 3 to 4, with 70,000 down to 3%. Ellen Langley's Dandelion descends 4 to 5, nearly 70,000 down 1%. The Racist, Morgan Wallen, I'm the Problem shifts down from 5 to 6 with 67,000 units, down 5%. Noah Kahan's The Greatest Divide falls 6 to 7, 56,000 up less than 1%. Ariana Grande's Pedestal slides from 2 to, damn, she fell from 2 to number 8. 51,000, down 38%, probably because people ain't feeling that record. And Drake's Iceman is a non-mover at number 9, 43,000, down 5%. Plus, Olivia Dean's The Art of Loving returns to the top 10, up 1 slot to number 10 with 41,000 units, up 11%. And it's probably because she just did 4 nights at the Garden and people were fighting to get them damn tickets. I told y'all that we had a line literally from the box office. People were there from like 11 o'clock, like early in the morning. At the box office, the Madison Square Garden, the line literally went to 10th Avenue. That's how crazy it was that people were trying to get tickets. So I'm sitting there like, 4 nights clearly wasn't enough. She might end up doing a residency like Harry Styles. Oh, shoot. Speaking of which, Harry Styles will be at the Garden in 2 days. I'll tell y'all how it was when I do the next show because I'm working open at night and it's going to be insane. So, yeah, I definitely see why Olivia Dean made the list of like she's back in the top 10 because of the tour. And the tour is really good. And it just seems like a lot because of all this hype around her and all the talk and people were talking about the garden shows and all that other stuff. The music's back in the top 10, and rightfully so. So congratulations, I guess, to Katseye. I mean, if you like it, I love it. I'm not really into their music or whatever the case is. Some of the K-pop stuff, I just don't get it. But I'm glad y'all actually got a hit on your hand. Now the question remains with y'all, with so many of the girls dropping like flies, because what is it now? 4 girls in the group. All this music and stuff y'all putting out, y'all still ain't making much of this music because y'all got to divide it so many damn ways. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding the latest album chart news? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. I'm ready for the tomatoes to be thrown at me. The Hootie Fruity song has grown on me. I don't care to listen to any of their other songs though. Well, look, if they got I always say this, like, even if I don't like an artist, if y'all got a bop, I'm like, okay, it's a bop, I'm living. But I'm like, girl, the Singaporean believes the first girl group you're introduced to is your favorite forever. For him, it would be Destiny's Child. For me, it would have been Fifth Harmony. Well, they said the first girl group I've been introduced to. Who would that be? I guess for me it would be TLC because that's kind of like my generation. Destiny's Child came. I mean, they were both in the '90s. Destiny's Child came years later, but TLC was like the first girl group I would say that I was introduced to. I know some people go Escape or whatever. I was never into Escape like that. SWV, they had a couple of songs, but I was never really into them like that. I felt like I resonated more with TLC because of the costumes, the type of music they were doing, the subject matter. So a lot, and then me coming up in like high school or whatever, like I related to a lot of their music in that way. Middle school, high school, like that whole cusp. I'm sad Phoebe Bridgers didn't go number one, but she went number one in the UK last weekend, and that long ass title from Olivia Rodrigo are tied for my AOTY. Guess who rated her album a decent 9? Pedal and MFF, nowhere to be found. Who? Fantano? TLC for R&B and European girl group. Yeah, I would say like the Spice Girls. I mean, the Spice Girls did. There was another group that I would say like had me in a chokehold. But we're talking about first girl group. I would say because yeah, TLC came before Spice Girls, and in a way, R&B. Yeah, TLC was R&B, but not really. They were also pop too. Like they had some catchy ass songs. I mean, I like Fan Mail and Silly Ho, even though that wasn't a single. Yeah, I like that song. That's what I said. Weak by SWV. Oh no, that was my jam. I get so weak in the knees, I can hardly speak. I lose all control, and the devil takes over me. So I love that song. Shout out to Coco and them nails. Um, and I'm like, I'm so into you. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I was like, boy, you got me so confused. That was my song too. I was watching Jackass clips last night, and I want to ask people that were there: did you guys like or what? I hated Jackass. I was not a real Jackass fan. I just thought that type of humor was just so stupid. And you know what kind of annoyed me? It was that MTV played so much into like the toilet humor or guys doing dumb shit. Like that MTV was heavy-handed on that. And I always found that to be annoying because that was like the era. Like, don't get me wrong, I did see some of the Jackass stuff and I did laugh, but I just never found that type of comedy to be amusing. So yeah, I wasn't a real big fan of Jackass. But SWV and Escape were labeled creations because of TLC. Were they? I mean, they were all kind of like that. You know, every producer wanted to have their own little thing. Whereas like Jermaine Dupri gave us Escape. I don't know who it was with TLC. I mean, TLC was Dallas Austin. And I don't know who it was with SWV. But yeah, there was always like these girl groups that had like their, the producers and stuff that was a part of the whole situation. This could be generational or cultural divide because I get a lot out of slapstick black humor. They just released the last Jackass movie. Yeah, and unfortunately it flopped. So I was thinking like, because I would just feel like Jackass is my generation. And just like I talked about yesterday regarding Masters in the Universe, Jackass fans are not going to spend $20 to go see somebody get hit in the nuts on a big screen. That should have went directly to Paramount Plus. And you already saw like it came out and flopped. So they should have just did that because Johnny Knoxville's what, in his 50s? So yeah, they should just release it straight to streaming. Until that MTV audience that they once pandered to, they're not going to the movies anymore. The 80s babies. They're not going to the movies unless it's to take their kids to see something. Or it's date night. But for date night, if you take your wife to go see some damn Jackass, she will literally cut your nuts off. Like how LaFace said Tony Braxton was their answer to Whitney. Well, I think Tony Braxton was the answer to Anita Baker. I don't think it was Whitney and Mariah Carey. Because from what I recall, if I'm not mistaken, there were some songs that was written for Anita Baker that ended up going to Tony Braxton during when she came out with her first album, Love Should Have Brought You Home. When you listen to them songs, it definitely feels Anita Baker coded. And I love me some Anita Baker, even though I heard she's a bitch in real life. But I live for the music. because I grew up on Anita Baker. That was played around the house. So when I was growing up, Anita Baker, Diana Ross, so many of the other iconic women, Whitney Houston, all that was played around because my mother was a pop girly, so she played us all the pop stuff. My father was more or less into the soul music, so I heard the James Browns and the Shy Lights and the Commodores and all that stuff growing up. And then for my mother, I got all the pop stuff. So I got the Taylor Danes, I got the freestyle, I got the who else? Michael Jackson. She was playing all that stuff. So that's where my eclectic music taste come from. And then of course I was introduced to instrumental stuff. So I grew up listening to Beethoven and Bach and freaking Amadeus, well, Mozart. So it was like all of that. That's where the classically trained side of me came from. And my music teacher, Miss Dunstan, introduced me to that side of look at me, because they always say like when you have when you're a kid, that teacher that inspired you to want to do the thing you want to do. For me, I would say like yeah, it was Miss Dunstan. She was my teacher who basically got me into playing the piano. Everybody else was playing the violin. Chris gravitated towards the piano, and that's where my taste in music came from. I just thought that the violin was just loud and noisy. So I just gravitated towards the piano, and I learned that's how I learned to play music by ear. But anyway, so they say in the rural South, you can find the local Johnny Knoxville of your hometown lighting the cigarettes, butt crack. Exactly. So it's like a lot of people like that type of stuff. Me, I just never found that humor to be funny. I mean, now then again, I did like Jim Carrey. So maybe it's just a level of stuff. People intentionally getting hit in their nuts. I feel like I just didn't find that funny. But if you're doing like a scripted comedy that's like filthy humor, slapstick and stuff because it's written, scripted, it's part of a movie, I tolerate that more versus Jackass, because Jackass is based in reality. It's like it's not script. It's like a reality show almost. So I'm like, oh no, this they could really do this, and this is really happening. They're really hurting themselves. So there's that. So maybe that's why I had an issue with it. Clive had Whitney, Tommy had Mariah, Tony was our answer to that trio. Well, yeah, it was like with her being with Ellie Reed and Babyface. It was like yes, they were behind the music of Tony Braxton, but Tony Braxton was more or less molded to be like their Anita Baker than their Whitney Houston. What you're talking about is a producer who had their own solo artist that was making music on a level of a Whitney and a Mariah. But when you look at Tony's music similarly echoed what Anita Baker was doing. We said I'm glad the rural Arizona was very much California, not rural South, rural West, because you said, I don't approve this comment on time, but it's from Robert. Jackass was to trailer trash for my taste, who laughs at getting shit and piss from a porta potty or stapling their. I mean, look at me. I'm laughing at somebody getting their scrotum taped to their. First of all, I wouldn't do it. But that's why I said that was why I had a problem with Jackass, because Jackass played up slapstick in realism versus when you watching it done in a scripted show, you know these people ain't really getting hurt. They're stunt people, it's scripted, they're not really out here hurting themselves or whatever. But when you watching them literally do this for the attention and laughs, because these are just young guys just doing dumb shit, and MTV, because at the time it was all about reality TV and all that other stuff, that's why it was popularized. But I just didn't like the realistic aspect of that type of comedy, because I'm like, y'all literally out here doing this mess. Wait, did I miss that comment? Or you said that somewhere else? But anyway, let's get back into the show, y'all. And let's talk about Lil Kim Chi. So Lil Kim, Hardcore is coming up on its 30th anniversary. And how Little Kim plans on celebrating is that she's going to do a live orchestra version of her debut album Hardcore, which I think is an excellent idea because we've seen so many artists like Jay-Z and Nas and so many other rappers who have used live instrumentation to their music. So we go in here, Lil Kim out here with a full-on orchestra doing I used to be scared of the dick. Now I throw lips to the shit. Handle it like a real bitch. Had the hunter, Janet Jack me, take it in the bud. Yes, yes, what? I got land in Switzerland. Even got sand in the Marylands. Bahamas in the spring. Baby, it's a big mama thing. Can't tell by the diamonds on the rings. That's how many times I want to come. 21, and another one, and another one, and another one. 24 karat dribble. That's when I'm fucking with the average nigga. Okay, let me stop. Because I can do the whole goddamn song, bar for bar. You know, that's one of my favorite songs from that album. That and Dreams of Sucking the R&B. So anyway, and shout out to my friend Ding in Ardecio. I really wish I was out at Fire Island over the weekend because Lil Kim performed out there at the Ice Palace. So I knew she was going there because he'd been advertising this for a while. But I saw the clips and stuff on his page, and she was out there living up for the gays and telling me happy. And the gays was up there singing along with her and all this stuff. She hugging all the homosexuals in the audience. So shout out to, Lil Kim loved the gays. She always been a supporter of the LGBTQ community. And so seeing her out there with her little old self, I'm like, damn, she's short. Even the camera made her look small, the way they were shooting it. But I saw the footage. So shout out to my friend Dang and RDCO for having her over there at Fire Island over the weekend and all the people she was with. But anyway, let's get into the story. So nearly 3 decades after Lil Kim changed female rap forever with her iconic debut album Hardcore, the Queen Bee has fans buzzing with news she will salute the 30th anniversary of the project with a one-night-only special event. The special event titled Hardcore Symphony will take place November 19th at King's Theater, People report, according to People. Lil Kim will perform reimagined versions of songs from the album alongside 3 Phantom and the Philharmonic Orchestra, an all-black ensemble that blends hip-hop and R&B with live orchestral arrangements. The show marks the 30th anniversary of Hardcore, released on November 1996. The album featured guest appearances by the Notorious B.I.G. and Jay-Z, debuted at number 11 on the Billboard 200, and was later certified double platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America for more than 2 million units. No Time, the lead single, reached number 18 on the Billboard Hot 100. Its best-known tracks include No Time, Big Mama Thing, and Crush on You, and Not Tonight. The Ladies Night remix of Not Tonight featured the dream team of female rappers, The Brat, Lisa Lepta Lopez, Missy Elliott, and Angie Martinez. Yes, Angie Martinez, the talk show radio host, whatever. She had 2 rap albums actually, and I bought both of them. So Angie was out here definitely trying to be that rap girly, and she had her moment in the spotlight. So shout out to her. And it climbed at number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 and earned a Grammy nomination for Best Rap Performance by a Duo or Group. Lil Kim has reflected on creating the album as a teenager without expecting the level of fame or commercial success that followed. In a 2016 interview cited by People, she said she was focused on making music and displaying her talent rather than setting career or financial goals. Yeah, because a lot of times you got to realize, especially when it comes to Black people, they don't teach you how to set a financial goal or what you do with your career. She was just out of here trying to make music, I guess, get out of poverty and being in Brooklyn, and wanted to make something of herself. And she did. Her career took off after that album. Child, I remember I was a kid in school. I listened to Hardcore. I don't know how I got that album. I think I had somebody make me a copy of it because I couldn't go to the store and buy it at the time. Because we had them parental advisory stickers on the CDs. But child, I got my hands on that Hardcore album, and when it opens with the guy beating his dick in the porn store, I gagged. I'm like, oh, what is this? And then I was like, the stuff we ain't heard before. And yeah, she influenced a lot of your faves with the being sexual in, as a female rapper. Where she influenced so many of those, like the Cardi B's, the Meg Thee Stallions, the Sexy Reds, whether you want to admit it or not, and some of the other girls. Lil Kim walked so they can run. So it is owed to her that, she is the queen of that whole type of music. And yeah, we have Foxy Brown, But to me, Foxy Brown had some good songs, but to me, she didn't have the cultural impact that Little Kim did. I know some people are gonna fight me on saying that, but oh well. And don't get me wrong, I bought Foxy music. I was a fan of Foxy music. I bought Il Na Na and China Doll, but Little Kim kept going. Foxy kind of was like she did a couple of songs or 2 albums, and then she tried to put out other stuff, and she kind of fell off relatively quickly. But Lil Kim kept going until she got arrested, and then she came out with the Naked Truth, and her career really didn't recover since the whole Naked Truth era. But she's still out here performing the hits, the old songs, and getting her little checks or whatever the case is. And the gays is keeping her career around. So she's doing all the prides and other shows that she's been doing. So I'm glad she's still out here dipping it and doing it. So they said that Hardcore Symphony gives Lil Kim another opportunity to revisit the record that established her solo career, this time with an orchestral and reinterpretation in her hometown. Tickets are already on sale for the November 19th performance, 3 decades after the album's original release. So I actually like this whole idea of, you know what? I've always felt that hip hop always sounded good with a live band. We've seen that come from Jay-Z. We've seen that happen with Nas and so many other rappers. So with her following suit, I'm definitely curious to hear what all this would sound like with a live orchestra. So with all that being said, I want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding Little Kim's about to celebrate? I can't believe, child, I feel old. I just hate when y'all come up with these big ass numbers. I'm like, 30 years. 30 years ago this album came out. So yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Because I'm sitting like, child, I was 15 when that damn album came out. If I want slapstick, I have I Love Lucy and the Nanny for that. I mean, I like slapstick comedy, but yeah, it has to be on that type of thing. I don't like the stuff where people are really putting inflicting pain on themselves. Breaking news: Wendy Williams documentary announced for Peacock. Is it really happening though? I mean, we talked about that on the show, right? That there was going to be a documentary, not Clap If You Care. Peacock orders documentary series celebrating the legacy of the Wendy Williams show. Okay, well, might as well just turn that into a not Clap If You Care. That is funny. That they basically they're calling it that. Well, look, congratulations, Wendy. How you doing? Hold on. Let me see if I guess we could talk about that as a topic. Give me a second while I add the photo. Give me adding more stuff to the docket when I don't need to be. Well, you know, I think that's definitely a good idea that they'll be doing something like this whole thing with Wendy Williams. But let me hold on. Shit, why did I do that? I'll use the Hollywood Reporter story because there's a bunch of these stories that just came out. This literally came out 7 minutes ago. So all right, y'all. So it looks like we got some breaking news courtesy of oh damn, I didn't even realize that I had my other thing open too. There's a lot of craziness going on right now. Excuse me, y'all. Okay, hold on. So I'll come to your comments in a second. Let's get into this story. So it looks like we just got some breaking news regarding Wendy Williams that she is about that we're getting a docuseries. I wish this would have came out around the time when I did the other Wendy story, but look, more tea for the situation because I ain't gonna be here tomorrow to do a show, so we'll get all these topics out the way. So, yeah, so let's get into the tea regarding that. So it's gonna be a 3-part documentary The streamer announced on Monday that it has greenlit a 3-part documentary with the working title "Clap If You Care." The Wendy Williams Show set to premiere. That is, first of all, a genius title because Wendy always said "Clap if you agree with the." It's a nod to the show. Set to premiere in 2027, the film focuses on the rise and fall of the syndicated daytime talk show distributed by Debmar Mercury between 2008 and 2022, when the show wrapped as host Williams fought health issues. According to Peacock, the film not only commemorates the show's achievement, but also sheds light on the complicated truths about the cost of fame and answers long, lingering questions surrounding Williams' infamous exit from her own talk show. The film is being EP'd by Suzanne Bass, who you know was on the show, who served in the same role on The Wendy Williams Show for 13 seasons. The project is also said to feature more than 20 staffers from the talk show speaking about their time on the program. Clap If You Care, The Wendy Williams Show is being executive produced by Iron Orifice, John Adler, Amanda Spain, Missy Walker, Forever Wonder, blah, 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 so and so, a bunch of damn people y'all don't know. So the project follows a separate documentary on Williams titled "Where is Wendy Williams?", which we already had that. And I would have to say this. I'm actually not mad at this because I think it'd be cool that we get a show that is about Wendy Williams at the time of the show and what it was like doing the show. I do hope that they include her in some way where it's like, can we have a sit down and maybe you want to talk about the show, or is she in a place where mentally she can't talk about it? I'm wondering if they're going to actually include her or if they will be able to include her, because who knows what this conservatorship entails. But then again, wasn't she under a conservatorship when she did Where's Wendy Williams, which was showing her in the worst light? So she could sit and y'all can get something out of her regarding this specific topic. I won't be too mad at y'all over if we can get this tea regarding this whole Wendy Williams situation. So shout out to you, Wendy. I definitely want to hear from y'all regarding this. What do you guys think of this story? Are y'all interested in checking out a new documentary series celebrating the legacy of the Wendy Williams Show? It's going to be done at Peacock. I remember we talked about this earlier, that they were planning on doing something like this, where there was rumors going around that Suzanne was going to be working on a docu-series about Wendy. But I thought it was going to be a different type of thing. But doing it based off the talk show and what it was like being on that show for 13 years, I think that's definitely going to be entertaining, because wasn't nobody doing it like Wendy in regards of the talk show. While everybody else was out here fighting for guests, Wendy didn't really need guests. The personality was what people were tuning in for. People were curious to hear what Wendy had to say in regards to like the latest hot topics, what celebrity she was talking about, what tea she was going to spill, and what was her opinion. She was pretty much the star. We didn't care about Countess Luann or some big musician or some actor that came on the show. It was Wendy was entertaining by herself. And it's very rare that we get that. Sidebar, I also think because we got Rosie O'Donnell with the late night talk show where she was hosting Jimmy Kimmel Live for a week, I think it's time that ABC has a conversation about hooking Rosie up with her own talk show, because late night talk shows are kind of dry right now. Like, we tired of the Jimmys up in here saying the same bullshit over and over. The talk show, the talk show landscape is kind of dry. It's boring. It's not fun. It's not entertaining. It's starting to die on the vines. And I think that if you get Rosie O'Donnell up in there, and this is just not just to go against Trump, which Rosie will have no problem doing that, throwing shade at Trump any chance she gets. But she was a a beacon of light. She was just a breath of fresh air when she was doing the show. She definitely had the capacity, the energy, the wherewithal. I think she's definitely perfect for that. So I think it's time that conversation needs to be had. But y'all need to diversify y'all portfolios in regards to who y'all giving talk shows to, because the whole white male stick, middle-aged stick, it's tired. But anyway, let me know what y'all think in the comments down below. I forgot to say that. So, hold on. Let me see what the rest of y'all are saying up in these comments. If someone sends a comment with a naughty word, I have to approve it or hide it from you in the live chat. If someone sends another comment before I approve it, it never gets sent, even when after I approve. Oh yeah, because I forgot I did give you the admin situation. Now, this is my reasonable doubt 30th anniversary Yankee Stadium foolishness. Drugs is one of my favorite songs ever. Mm, I do love that song. That's why I said, like, when everybody was up here talking about Jay-Z and Reasonable Doubt, I was not big on Jay-Z like that. So I was like, whatever. And I already knew based off of friends of mine who worked, well, and coworkers of mine who worked that event, doing the tickets and everything, and how much of a mess it was. I was just like, screw Yankee Stadium and all that other foolishness. But yeah, to me, this is my reasonable doubt 30th anniversary. So I will agree with you there. Neutrogena is taking massive stock hit after backlash. Well, good on them, because the way they treated her after she talked about her postpartum depression, let them lose out on their money. I didn't mean to hide Robert from the live chat. Neutrogena is taking massive stock. Oh, well, no, I saw it. Because Neutrogena should have defended themselves when Hayden was alive, but it's too late. OMFG, was there a Trumpy in the comment section? Sorry, I'm late. Was it? Not Bring Back Mad TV. Oh, yeah, Bring Back Mad TV. Mad TV was my show. I'm 50 years old. He said, I'll move my finger too and hit Robert from the live chat trying to approve his comment. I hope he's still here and didn't get the boot. Didn't his comments come in? I saw the Neutrogena thing. I have not watched any late night talk show since Arsenio Hall was forced off TV. Yeah, I don't really, yeah, I don't watch talk shows, late night talk shows like that, because they're boring. I just don't particularly care. Even down to the interviews, like I don't even care. It's the same old, same old. 7 minutes with a celebrity. Y'all talking about things I just don't care about. I gotta really like you in order to watch an interview with you. I do think we need dumb song parodies back. Like Weird Al. I worked his concert last year. It was a good show. No, he won't be. And that's the one thing he's mad about. He'll never be Obama. You'll never be as charismatic. You'll never be as good looking. You'll never have his waistline. You'll never have a wife that loves you like Michelle loves her husband. You'll just never get it. Never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it. Anyway, let's get into some more stuff. Speaking of hardcore, let's talk about a hardcore porn star by the name of Christian Styles, who apparently passed away at the age of 29. So this tea came out earlier today. I'm like, what is going on? So with these young Hollywood starlets passing away unexpectedly, we losing a lot of adult cinematography performers. So his death was confirmed by an obituary published by his family, which said he died on August 20th. That's 4 days ago. Born Zachary Christian Jaghab in January 1997, he was raised in Michigan, began working in the adult entertainment industry in 2021, building a following as both a performer and an online content creator. In 2023, he was recognized at the GAVN Awards, winning a fan-voted award alongside performer Chris Damned, and went on to... I was like, why is the name Chris Damned? Oh, I heard some tea about him. Never mind. We're going to keep moving. And went on to receive further nominations the following year. Styles had also accumulated over 1 million followers on Twitter, where he promoted his OnlyFans account. No cause of death has been given. In a family obituary, he was remembered as a cherished son, beloved brother, and adored uncle, survived by his parents, siblings, nieces, and nephew, and many moving aunts, uncles, cousins, and dear friends. A funeral service will be held in Livonia, Michigan on August 25th. That's tomorrow, with his family asking for donations to a memorial GoFundMe in his memory. And funny enough, when I went over to Pink News, which is where I got the story, why didn't y'all put the link to the damn GoFundMe up in there? Because I would have showed it on here. So fans have been remembering the star, with one person writing on Twitter, "Rest in peace to Christian Styles, who sadly passed away yesterday. He was truly a talented content creator and a kind soul. Another said, rest in peace, Christian Styles. Someone else said, poor guy, may he RIP and his family find peace. So I do wonder, you're like 29 years old, you're so young. It's like, and people thought that he was a good content creator. He does look familiar. I don't know. After a while, all y'all content creators look the same to me. So I may have come across his content over on the Twitter or any other platform because I don't subscribe to OF stuff anymore. But if I happen to see clips and stuff floating around on the social medias, I will give it a gander. But I want to know what's been going on. We've been losing so many young adult performers. So it's sad to hear this news. I'm sure that, the game blogs or whatever will keep us abreast of what was the cause of death when they let us know. Speaking of which, I meant to bring this up, but I'll bring it up in passing. So Tyler, who was on The Real World, he finally was laid to rest. I saw that Johnny Bananas went and posted the pictures and stuff about it up on his social media and the memorial picture, the pamphlets and all the other stuff, and who took a bunch of group photos and things of that nature. I don't know if anybody else from the reality show was there, but I did see that Johnny Bananas posted photos. So shout out to Tyler, and also shout out to Christian Styles, who passed away from undisclosed circumstances. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding this news? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. All right, y'all. So now let's get into our final topic. And let's talk about Dan Renzi. So for those of you who may not remember who Dan Renzi is, let me remind you, he used to be on The Real World Miami, and he was very entertaining. He was on there with Flora. Child, Flora was a key. But he basically recently I think he now works as a nurse. So he did a little story time where he basically put GLAAD on blast and was talking about how he, at one point, when he was a part of The Real World, how GLAAD wanted him to kind of, because I guess The Real World was winning awards, I guess, for their contribution to including LGBTQ people, or to say at the time, the LGBT community, because it wasn't all the acronyms that we got now, but it was lesbian, gay, and bisexual. Well, we didn't have no trans people on the show, I don't think. But in The Real World, it was a lot of lesbians and gays that were coming on to the show and telling their stories, and GLAAD, I guess, wanted to highlight them. And Dan, at the time when he was a part of Miami, they wanted him to be on the thing, and then I guess the episode started to air, and then they decided to kind of renege their invitation, and they played in his face multiple times until he had to tell them about their damn self. So I have the clip of him giving his story time, and I thought it'd be interesting if we actually listen to what he had to say. So hold on, we'll get the clip, and then we'll come back and talk. Please hold.
Back in 1996, I was on a reality show called The Real World. If you're under 40, you probably don't know what that TV show was.
What's going on? Come on.
But it was a big deal back then, and there were no openly gay characters on TV except on The Real World. We were it. So after the show premiered, I got a call from GLAAD, the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, and they asked if I'd be interested in receiving their Image Award, or whatever it was called. It's at a big award ceremony, as their major fundraiser for the year. And I said, of course, that's very nice, thank you. But then after a few episodes of the show played on TV, they called back and said, after getting to know my personality a little bit more, they decided I was not a good representation of the LGBT community, which is what it was called back then, and that they decided to not give me the award after all. I had just turned 22 years old. But then a few years later, I was on a TV show called The Challenge, which is also on MTV. And I got a call from GLAAD again, and they were having an award ceremony honoring MTV and the producers of The Real World for all of the work they did for the LGBT community. And they asked if I would be interested in hosting the awards show. And I said, sure, when is it? They said, well, it's tomorrow. And the original host that they had booked backed out at the last minute. So they asked me, because the award show was in LA and they knew I lived in LA, so it'd be easy for me to get there. And I asked, you're doing an award show honoring The Real World, but you didn't even tell me that the award was happening. And the guy on the phone said, yeah, And I said, like, all this great visibility that the real world has for the LGBT community, I think I had something to do with that. You couldn't even tell me that this award was happening. And that was the first time in my life that I stuck up for myself and said, no, I don't want to. I think about that phone call occasionally because that was the day that I learned you do not always have to make other people happy. It's okay to say no if you don't want to do something. Oh, and P.S. GLAAD, you can suck it. Back.
So yeah, and I agree with him on that because here's the thing: I never particularly cared for GLAAD. I've always thought GLAAD was full of shit, and they only care about their corporate donations than actually representing the people. And to me, it's like, yes, when you look at people like Dan and Karamo and so many others that were coming up back then, it was slim pickings when it came to LGBT representation on TV back in the day. And so when you were looking at reality TV shows, which was more relatable, especially when we had people like Pedro Zamora, which of course they would go for him because he was battling AIDS and he went on this reality show. And then after the show, I think before the show even aired, he died. So that's going to create such an impact in that way. And for them to come up in here and be like the gatekeepers of who are and who are not true representatives of the LGBT community, that is always kind of like why I've never particularly cared for a lot of these organizations, because they're not really out here for the representation of the people. Y'all out here to keep y'all corporate donors happy and to be able to keep your little organizations afloat or whatever the case is. But for you to sit up here and try to act like, oh, well, because I was on TV and you got flaws and all, that I'm not a true representation of the community because of how my behavior was coming across in a way that was going to make the entire community look bad. And I hate that argument of where people go whenever gays or anybody a part of the community does something, or you're setting the community back 30 years or whatever the case is. I'm like, look, at the end of the day, people who oppose certain marginalized groups are gonna believe what they believe regardless. They're gonna feel how they're gonna feel regardless of the situation. So we can't sit up in here and worry about pleasing certain parts of the community. So over in the comments, he had to go to reiterate and say that I was like, I forgot that Melrose Place was still on TV in 1996, and they had a gay character. So my statement on that was wrong. Sorry, Doug. They had a gay character in the show, but they barely did anything with him. Another person, OMG, Dan from Miami, your expression when Flora climbed through that bathroom. Oh yeah, that was iconic. The bathroom window scene. Melanie Thornton. Wait, is that Melanie Thornton from Pussycat Dolls? Hold on. Yes, it is, child. She said, formerly of the Pussycat Dolls, she said, Miami is the best season. Love you, Dan. Bitch Puddin came up with some hand emojis. Billy Porter gave some clap emojis. Jackie B says, sound about right. I went, glad has always been trash. Another person said, Dan, you not only represented us with heart and integrity, you were hysterical. I never laughed so hard during a real world season. You made history by openly getting an HIV test on TV and getting the results on TV. There was so many different ways to showcase fearlessness on this show, and you did them all. Thank you. I'm a fan. You will always be remembered for your season and you. So yeah, a lot of people are pretty much showing him love. And what one person said, there was not a lot of gay representation in the 90s. And I thought your time on Real World Miami was fantastic. Sadly, I'm not shocked by GLAAD. And so, yeah, a lot of people understood and all that other stuff. Yeah, glad you could suck it. That's why I've always said, like, a lot of these organizations, they're trash. They're not really here for the people. They're all about their corporate interests and their donors. And it's like, how dare y'all sit up here and try to act like y'all are the soothsayers and the gatekeepers of what is a true representation of the community? Because we're not a monolith. We exist in all different types of ways. We come in all different shapes, sizes, and forms, and we're flawed. We're not perfect. I'm not going to come in here and try to act like that I am. And I'm glad he didn't do that. You're on reality TV. You got cameras following you all around. They got a story to tell. So you're going to get the flaws and all. So shout out to you, Dan. I'm glad you told your story. And yeah, GLAAD, as they said, you can suck it. Which I'm sure you have no problem with. Now, I say all this to say, the homosexuals that's up in GLAAD. What do you guys think of this story regarding Dan Renzi, an icon from the old Real World TV show, giving us a little story time about his complicated relationship with GLAAD? And I'm glad at one point I was like, yeah, how dare y'all just all of a sudden decide to hit me up because your previous host bailed on y'all. Now I'm the leftovers, and we're being honored with awards you weren't even gonna tell us. But now you need me to just show up for y'all to fill to be a seat filler because your first choice bailed. Like, it's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you a dumbass bitch. That's what I always say. And that's what it's giving. You try to play me for a fool. And now I was like, no, thank you, but no, thank you. If you're not going to sit and show the respect, I don't got respect for y'all. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. There's this great video essay about bisexuality, its representation in media, and the scrutiny many bi people still face by Verily Bitchy. I have to check that out. Do you think because like every sheltered gay guy, GLAAD rescinded because he was acting like a hussy? GLAAD wanted us, I think at the time, particularly in those days, people were walking on eggshells about stuff. So people and being gay they were going in on us pretty hard. So GLAAD wanted to, I guess, walk on eggshells about everything. You can't do nothing negative. You got to be perfect in every way. Nobody's Mary Poppins. And reality TV was about you getting to see all the flaws. And for them to sit up there and try to act like, well, I guess they wanted him to be perfect in every way. That's just not possible for someone to do. GLAAD doesn't consider Challengers a queer film despite the two dudes making out in front of Zendaya being front and center for promotion. GLAAD is so weird. A bunch of bunch of booty plug gatekeepers. Doja Cat or Ella Langley, I don't know her. Texas might know her, but I don't. Her fans are not invited to my show. I'm allowed to ban people from my shows. Wait, is Ellen Langley's fans conservative? Well, child, Casey Musgrave, I know her fans ain't conservative because she out here going against, the fascists and Trump and anti-immigrants. So shout out to her because she's doing her show next week. I got to check my phone because I think I might be working not Ellen Langley, chair. I think I will be working because I just got, my schedule for September has come out. So I might be working. Hold on a second. If I can get this damn thing to open. Oh, hold on. I said I actually might be working I might be working Casey Musgrave show because I'm not doing the first one. I'm probably doing September if I can get this damn thing. Yep, I knew it. Oh, at least I'm off my birthday. They must have known that my September 2nd was my birthday. But I'm working September 1st, which is her show. Casey Musgrave, because they didn't give me I think it was the 30th or the 31st, so they didn't give me that one. So yeah, you said I'm still on the first season of Queer as Folk, but can I just say that I love how Justin is an inspiring cartoonist and computer animator. If Gen Z doesn't like watching old media, I'll take it. Ella Langley appeals to the same crowd Carrie Underwears and Miranda Lambert had a decade ago. I don't care to listen to Ella. If there's any evidence of payola, it's her and that damn song about Texas. I know, because who is choosing Texas at this damn point? So, yeah, I agree with you. Child, but I'm about to do a bunch of damn Harry Styles, so it looked like Chris gonna be busy this month. I gotta go. Speaking of which, I gotta get off of here because I gotta work on my schedule. It's a lot going on because I already told y'all my living situation. Like, I'm officially gonna be taking over my parents' house now that they move into Virginia. So, um, I don't know. I may have to start charging y'all for that Patreon. I may have to get a second job, but it seemed like, look, I'm going to be relatively busy next month, so everything should be good with the finances and everything. But yeah, so it's a lot going on. I'm gonna try to be squeezing in as much shows as I possibly can. I'll be back on Friday. I may be able to squeeze in a show there. But I definitely what I want to start doing. See, you reminded me so much. Now you've inspired me. I will say, Onyx, because now I want to do a Queer as Folk rewatch and upload the videos to Patreon because it's been a minute since I've seen it. The only thing that's holding me back from it is the music, but I think that maybe that'll be the appeal of making me kind of react a little crazy because I'm going to be so irritated by the shitty music replacements that they put up in the show. So, um, I want to thank y'all all for watching the latest episodes. Yes, they do. Of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Hit that like button, subscribe, smash the notification bell. I'm going to be working every day for the rest of the week, so I'll be back Friday with a brand new episode. Love you all for watching. Thank you for your continued support. And until next time, ciao, darlings.